Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here, the lover of story-driven hentai, with week 25 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is me, the king of kangaroos, the LoneVaultWanderer. I just had some Vegemite, so I'm good to go for this podcast.
Oh, God. Well, my name's Noah. My arc has been, the engine's been a little fritzy. I heard my new engine tech, Karina, has been messing everything up in the engine. I swear, all I wanted was a twin turbo, and it's all fucked up. So, yeah, my name's Noah.
No one laugh. And this week I triggered him. This week we have a very special guest joining us.
Good afternoon. I'm John from ManyATrueNerd. Probably currently doing the Fallout New Vegas You Only Live Once run, and very pleased to be here.
Oh yeah,
It's very, very good to have you. Do you know how many people have been asking us to get you on, John? Like ridiculously.
Yeah. I do not know. I'm thrilled if it is.
Yeah, no, definitely has been.
It's been quite a lot. Anyways, promotion time. Noah, you're here with me this week, so let's shove our t-shirts down these people's throats.
Anyways, what's it called? So we actually just today, which is Saturday, you're going to be listening to this on Sunday, but just got a new design in from one of our artists named Henry. It is a fantastic design. It's not up on the store yet. It hopefully will be up tomorrow in the morning. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. But buy the shirts. You help support us. We always love seeing you, selfies with them on. We've gotten quite a few of them. One girl even bought one of them, so that's pretty big deal. Woo, yeah.
Buy them. Give us your money. Let me retire early.
It's pretty simple. Like we just want the money.
Anyways, we have timestamps down below. You guys can skip to whatever part of the podcast you would like if you're, cool like that.
A dick.
Yeah, basically. And anyways, each week we like to have one of you join us on the podcast, and you can go ahead and answer that question either on sugarbomb.com or most likely tweet at us with the hashtag HamRadioTime with your answer to the following question: what is your favorite type of playthrough in Fallout? And
that's fitting.
I figured it was fitting once again. I've been on a roll. That was fitting with John joining us this week. How do you like that?
Well done, Matt.
I don't know if you heard me typing on my computer. I for some reason wrote, "What is your favorite type of playthrough in Fallout 4?"
Excellent.
I wouldn't know.
No. John, how has that You Only Die Once playthrough been going? It's I saw your first episode. I'm thinking, there's no way this is gonna happen.
40 parts later.
Yeah, part 44 and part 45, the end, up tomorrow. In fact, so yeah, it's it was one of the ones I actually wrote off about 8 parts ago. Because I wouldn't say planned, but was just quietly acknowledging I was going to die in Dead Money. That was just a thing. I'd pretty much written off I was going to get to the tower, I was going to start the gala event, and then I was going to die on the way back. But I got one of those 1% stealth boy drops during Dead Money, so I just happened to have stealth boys with me. So I just kind of completely avoided that section. I kind of just got into the.
Oh boy,
he's dropped out.
Oh no,
die.
Oh, there he is.
So yeah, it's
John,
been surreal. But then we did that. We did most of Lonesome Road. We finally get to flip and do it.
Awesome.
Couldn't agree more.
What? No.
So John, you cut out a little bit there. So what we're gonna do is have you describe that scene again, and we'll just edit that back in.
Oh, you're making me work.
We're not going to edit it back in. Just have them
yes,
describe
we
it back.
are.
This is a podcast. Now it's awkward for the viewer. That's a good thing.
Just, John, so we missed. You heard you talking about Dead Money and how you thought you were going to die. And then what did you say after that?
Let me just, hang on. Let me just crack open one thing that I was going to improve the signal. Because let me just give me 2 secs.
Okay.
He's going to shoot
this
a
is
satellite into the sky.
To intercourse.
I honestly think that Matty's just going to leave this part in, and I'm probably going to as well, because it's funny.
Leave it in and done that.
Yeah, this is started off interesting.
Be like, wow, this is what they're like when they're not.
We put timestamps down below for the douchebags who can't sit here and listen to our awkward podcast moments.
Why don't you put gameplay? Shut up. It's like,
all right, sorry. That should be a better signal now. That should hopefully not cut out.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave all of that in. I've decided. It's happening.
Anyway, so you thought you were gonna die during Lonesome Road, and then.
No, I thought I was gonna die during Dead Money. I was actually pretty. It was I actually even planned what I was gonna do the week after, what the replacement series was gonna be. It was just the gala event was going to be the death of me. But then I kind of made it to the casino and it's just kind of like, oh, balls. Well, this throws the entire schedule for the next month out the window. So in the end, I was able to fight through dead money, made it to Lone Sorrow. Lone Sorrow wasn't too bad because when you can actually bring in all your equipment, you can just basically stack all the ridiculously OP perks and weapons and ammo on top of each other and just murder everything.
Yeah.
And then we finally got to the very end of it. The problem is because all damage is persistent. I've basically got to complete the final battle with Ulysses and then the marked men, and I can't get hit once because I don't have enough HP to take a single hit.
That is one of the hardest fights in Fallout, dude. Holy crap!
I died like 30 times against Linnaeus.
On the easiest.
Holy shit! I don't know how you did that. Fucking hell.
Amazing.
I never played Dead Money because I knew you couldn't get out of the DLC while playing it, and I didn't like that, so I was like, no.
I just heard it had it was okay.
Yeah,
it was really annoying. It was really boring, and it didn't offer much in terms of story. So I was like, okay, well, honestly, I'm not gonna play it then. That's why.
As long as you don't go in on hardcore. On hardcore, it's just a troll joke. It is genuine because literally just like if you're walking around, you're just taking constant damage, and there's no reliable source of healing items. So it's just kind of it's not fun because you can't even stop to enjoy it because you've just got to be constantly running everywhere because the moment you stand still for a minute, you're just taking passive damage. It's not fun in hardcore. I think I'd agree. There's not much going on in terms of the story's maybe a little bit thin. But it does have some of the more interesting multi-layered characters in New Vegas. All of the characters have their own agendas and motives, and they're not all immediately obvious. And they react in a very human fashion, which I think is very interesting. It doesn't always happen in Fallout, where sometimes characters are a bit one-dimensional. They've got a motive and they want to do that thing. All the characters in Dead Money, they react they get personally insulted if you say the wrong thing to them, and they'll hold grudges, even if they'll still work with you. Yeah. They react to what you say to them very cleverly. It's probably one of the better bits of, even though the overall story is a bit weak, the actual writing and the characterization is probably some of the strongest in New Vegas.
I'll actually agree with that. Yeah, I just remember my overall thoughts about Dead Money was a bit of a letdown, especially because it was the first DLC, and I was expecting something great, and we were so excited to get that first DLC. But I do remember the characters now that you've mentioned it, so that is a really good point.
I just love,
Yes, you've experienced it. Noah has interrupted. Yes.
To get away. I liked a lot of oh fuck, what was it? Was it Lonesome Road in New Vegas? That was the one where you
This is the last DLC. It was you
that was the one where you went and you talked to the fucking dialogue scene in the beginning took an hour and a half to get through, right?
That's Old World Blues. Yeah. That's Old World Blues.
Finger penises.
Old World Blues, yeah, finger penises. That was I did a let's play of that for 3 episodes. And that was the name of one of my episodes, was Finger Penises.
It was the best line ever. I played on DLC, but I just Dead Money, because I played a shit ton of Fallout Dust. I've raged enough at Fallout where I've heard that Dead Money is legitimately rage-inducing. I'm I just can't right now. I'm just not in the mood for that. I played all the Fallout games, all the DLC, but just Dead Money is just sitting there for one day when I just want to okay, I'll try this.
You probably should have played that first to get out of the way, and then enjoy the other DLC.
Yep.
Idiot, man.
Its job is to kind of stamp on your face. That's kind of the job of it, because people going into it, it had plenty of time to play the base game, that had plenty of time to get all these amazing weapons and ammo, and think they were really good at the game, and they'd got capped level characters up to what then was the level cap. Yeah. And Dead Money is designed to basically take you and take all of it away and stamp on you for a bit and make you feel incredibly vulnerable. And it's very good at that. Whether that's an enjoyable experience more than once, it's almost more like a horror game. It's trying to take Fallout and make it into a horror game. But that if you go into it expecting a Fallout New Vegas whizzy bangy adventure explosion-y shooter, maybe that's going to be frustrating. So adjust expectations, and it's pretty good. There's problems and there's missteps, the radios are just not a good mechanic, but there's good stuff there.
Maybe I'll man up. Anyways, let's go on to the Bethesda news roundup, and let's start off with one of the most ridiculous headlines I think I've seen in a while. Skyrim sequel not coming soon.
No shit.
Yeah, okay, well, I want to focus on they said Bethesda Game Studios is 100% focused on Fallout 4, like, like you said, no shit, but the fact that they called it Skyrim sequel, Skyrim 2, stop.
Yeah, it's an Elder Scrolls sequel. God,
Yeah.
even I know that, and I'm a pleb. Come on.
But I fucking
I'm a
hate
normal.
that. Like, I'm not even saying that in the elitist way. Like, everyone knows it's not Skyrim sequel. Like, oh, can't wait for the next Skyrim game.
Skyrim 2. Like, Return of the Dragonborn. Like, no, it's not gonna be that.
Fucking
Could be a prequel. Could be Skyrim 2. Isn't life lovely when there's no dragons?
It's just everyday life, like nothing is happening.
Just guards wander around saying, "Bloody hell, it's great having 2 functional knees."
Oh my god.
We're gonna get this guy more often. That's excellent.
Yes.
Excellent, Matty.
Can replace me. Oh.
Why'd you call my name? I'm not gonna say anything.
I don't know, but yeah, it's a bit of a ridiculous headline, to be honest. Not just because of the Skyrim 2, but holy
Something
shit,
like a
Fallout 4
14-year-old
isn't even
would
out
say.
yet.
Yeah.
Like he's sitting there at his computer, like, "Holy shit, mom!" Like, you know, and then Skyrim 2 is
You
coming
know what
out.
I
I tell
learned
you
from
what's-
this? You know what I learned from this is that, I made a video about it. Sorry, I hit my desk. I made a video about it, just talking about it. And people still, I totally forgot, but they still think Elder Scrolls 6 is confirmed. Do you guys remember a long while ago, I made a video saying, like, no, Elder Scrolls 6 is not in development. It got a ton of people came in and watched this video and, like, shit all over me because they believe those, like, fake articles, like K-drama stars. That still applies today. I didn't even think it did because Fallout 4 got confirmed, but it does. I was so mind-blown. They're like, speculation for Elder Scrolls 6? Are you kidding me? It's confirmed. I'm like, what the fuck did he just say? I'm like, I'm sure Elder Scrolls 6 is an idea. Can we agree on that? It's probably an idea right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's definitely conceptualized without a doubt. Yeah.
You see, I'm suddenly kind of interested enough. Like, did everyone agree that they hated online so much it wasn't allowed to be part of the numbering system? Is that what happened?
Yes. It was like Elder Scrolls Online. No, we're not gonna give it one.
Okay, I have people telling me that no, the game is improved. You should go back and give it a second chance.
I've heard
and
that
like,
as
I
well.
never gave it a first chance.
That's what I'm saying. Someone was on my
I
stream
did.
yesterday saying that. I was like, no, I didn't know.
I made that mistake.
Yep.
Okay, so is it actually bad, Elder Scrolls Online, or is it just it doesn't hit the mark?
Launch. It looks better now. It tells some good stories in my opinion, even at launch. So I'm gonna assume it's better for it now because it's more polished and they said it's been selling well. So I'm guessing it's better. But like I just read a review in both Game Informer and Xbox Magazine, and I'm pretty sure they both gave it 7. So it's just like a good game. It's not like
It's a game.
monumental. Yeah, it's not this monumental achievement like the other Elder Scrolls games were. And that would be my garage door.
Yeah. Picture your dad coming in. Hey, Maddie. I'm not gonna say anything more because I don't want a meme to be made out of Matt's dad. And by saying that, I already made a meme
Really?
out of Matt's
Wow.
dad. So
You're an idiot.
no, I'm not. I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm just...
So let's talk a little bit more on this Elder Scrolls 6 nonsense. When did let's just talk, okay? Like when are we gonna see it then? When are we gonna see Bethesda Game Studios' next game? Like, let's just talk about it because we have an excuse to talk about it.
Like now, like
No, I'm saying like we have an excuse to talk about it. Let's fucking talk about it.
Okay, let's do some bloody maths then. How long? We know that they began making Fallout 4 the moment Fallout 3 was done.
Yeah.
So how long was it between Fallout 3's launch and them actually bothering to announce Fallout 4? Because that was what? About 6
years.
6 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So when was Skyrim? When was Skyrim launched? That was 2000 and what was it?
2011. It was 11.
2011.
Yeah.
2011. All right. So in 2 years' time, confirmed.
You think?
There you go.
Yeah, they'll announce it. They're going to announce Skyrim 2 at E3 2017, and it will come out in time for holidays 2017. Yep. Confirmed. That's maths. That's science.
He's gonna walk out on the stage, Todd, and he's gonna be like, "We've been working on this since 1993, right after we finished Wayne Gretzky Hockey HD."
Volumetric lighting, physical base.
Exactly.
I have no idea what you just said, but I'm so excited. That's what I thought when I heard him first say that. I'm like,
well, I could explain volumetric lighting. It's actually quite neat.
Yeah.
please just.
Okay.
Hey,
So the
I
way
say
video games work. Okay. So
okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go into it.
I think Todd Howard has a video. Like it's called Why Details Matter. He talks about it. He says
it is
more
the cool
game
thing.
developer things that I don't know, but he says, well, it looks prettier. I'm like, okay.
It is cool, but the volumetric lighting can
It
be
just lets
achieved
the
with
light go through
shaders
the windows and stuff.
like baking it. Well, but in like real time.
Yeah.
Not like post baked, or
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what is really interesting about this whole news article is that, like, oh yeah, the next Elder Scrolls game, we're not making it yet, it hasn't started, but when we asked about Fallout 4, they did not fucking acknowledge it. That's the interesting thing, I think.
Wow. How did I not pick up on that?
That's a good point.
And this is a
Maybe
question
because
Pete
they're
Hines-
not going to say no to that if they're actually working on it.
But this is a question of Pete Hines, and Pete was like he said, we're not working on our next Elder Scrolls game yet. Like, he kind of acknowledged it. And
Yeah.
I just, that's
Like,
so
it's
true.
really pissed
Or
off.
if someone asked him, I guess, well, actually, no, now you think about it, back in the older articles for Fallout 3, they were saying, well, what about the next Fallout game? And he was like, well, we didn't buy the license just to make one Fallout game. There will be a Fallout 4 and whatnot. So I guess, like, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But it just feels weird because we've waited so long for Fallout 4. Now it's finally acknowledged, and they're talking about their, not their potential next game, but, now they got people thinking about their next game.
Guys, it's in 3 months. Are you all excited? I'm very
so excited. I actually, for the first time ever, had a dream about Fallout 4 last night. I had a dream. I was just playing
God.
it. I always don't. Oh God, me.
How old are you?
I see so many goddamn tweets every day of people bullshitting me. I had a dream. I blew up a death claw in Fallout 4.
What are you gonna first do in Fallout 4, Matty?
But like, I see those all the time, and I'm like, bullshit. And then it happened to me. I'm like, wow. I played Fallout 4. I couldn't tell you a story on what the hell happened, but I was sitting in my chair playing Fallout 4, happy. It was a happy dream. Like, I could feel the emotion of happiness. I was holding the controller. I knew it was Fallout 4. That's all that happened. I was like, wow, it's gotten this bad.
That is bad when you start to dream about the game.
I dream about work a lot. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I'll fall asleep and I'll just have a dream where I'm just at work, and that's it. Nothing special is
I had a dream
happening.
that I like die and wake up in the morning wood and be like, what the fuck just happened to myself?
Yeah, wow, you're doing your own morning one.
This is so morbid. What the fuck?
What are your dreams like, John? I'm curious.
John's like, I'm not
They're
participating.
not about Fallout 4. I will freely say.
Okay,
Fallout 4. I'm reserved. I don't know. I'm saying very stoic about Fallout 4 because though
remember
everything
you
I've
saying that.
everything I've seen is actually makes me quietly optimistic. I still live with an underlying level of nervousness that if I, on the day Fallout 4 comes out, get up, play it, and don't enjoy it and have to admit that on the internet, I'm going to have to deal with the mother of all comment sections.
It's what it was like for New Vegas.
Yelling at me. It's going to be horrendous.
I feel your pain.
The horrible situation where if Fallout 4 just isn't very good, what the hell do we do? What do we do at that
You
point?
don't say anything. You smile and nod and be like,
just
"Oh,
lie.
great thought, great game."
Yeah, I think all of us experienced like our own little like section of hate this week. That you think about Lone with the UI,
This week.
me with not talking about the Gamescom leak, and then I think John, you had something going on with Journey, right?
Oh God, don't mention Journey. I've banned it being talked about now. It's just the video that shall not be named.
I get yelled at for not being on the cast because I work and have a job and have responsibilities to pay things and such, and I can't control the schedule. So if I see another fucking tweet that says, why don't you have time, but you have time to work? Shut up. Jesus Christ.
Did you see my tweet out to you?
Yeah,
this week?
no, I saw it.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
I thought it was
hilarious.
pretty.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, John, I made a video about how, in my opinion, I didn't like the UI for Fallout 4. And this was probably the first video in a long time that I got a lot of hate for. But I've decided to read the dislikes as people just genuinely disagreeing because most of the time
That's how
people
it usually
disagree.
goes.
Yeah, most of the time people disagreed. It was in a respectful way. There were a few people that didn't, but for the most part, people were like, well, no, look at it this way. And I'm like,
Yeah,
actually, yeah, that makes
was.
sense. And that's the point. It brings about debate and discussion. And we can have that in the Fallout community without getting accosted. So I do appreciate that. And we don't always
What was
have
the
to
problem with
agree.
the UI? What was your problem with the UI?
I thought the elements on screen with the UI, they're a bit too large, and that's definitely coming from someone that's used Darn's UI on the PC
Same.
and
Yeah.
thought, for example, when you're crippled, there's this huge giant vault boy in the top right corner of the screen that literally blocks off the entire top right. And I'm like, that's a cute animation, and maybe they've just done that for the presentation purposes. But I just thought they were just a bit too large. And I was hoping, I hope that there are scaling options in the game because we haven't had those with past Fallout games or Skyrim games. So I didn't really have any reason to believe that there would be scaling options in Fallout 4.
There's scaling on PC, I thought.
Not that
No.
I'm aware of. Everyone was like, I saw
Or
the
maybe I'm
comment, they were
thinking
like,
of-
it's 2015, Lone, like, there's UI scaling. I'm like, not that I'm aware of, or else darn UI would not be installed on my PC.
Oh,
Exactly right.
Maybe I'm thinking of
Yeah.
another game.
Yeah,
That'd be
and
fantastic if they just call a press conference for Fallout 4 and they just say, okay, today we're going to show you the options menu, and just a whole bunch of YouTubers on the back row just lose their shit. And everyone else just looks like going, what?
Wow, I can make a
And just
50
walks
discussions on
out bored. All the YouTubers, hey, graphical options.
Yeah.
well, you
Dude,
know
they're
how
scaling.
Total
I'm so
Biscuit-
fucking hype.
Total Biscuit will have a field day with that video. I'd guarantee
this.
you.
Yeah.
He would pick it apart and be like, "This is what I like." You know, yeah.
I love Total
I like
Biscuit.
him, man.
Just sit down and just scrutinize everything, but it's great because he goes through every single bloody setting and tell you what the game should and shouldn't have. I'm like, yes, you are the
That's
best person
awesome.
in the world.
We should have him on.
Oh yeah, I'll just fucking call him up. I got him
Yeah.
on speed dial now.
Okay,
Anyone else? You want me to call PewDiePie? I'll call PewDiePie.
Yeah.
All right.
I realized I just said that like a comment, like someone like leaving a comment like "Get PewDiePie on," or like well, no.
Well, we were, this is a good transition for our next news bit. While we were talking about hate, I got hate for not talking about what is our next topic, the Fallout 4 footage leaking from Gamescom.
Shh.
Shh.
Mention it. There was no leak.
I know.
What's Gamescom? No.
What's Fallout?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about everything but what was in the footage, shall we?
Well, so talking about it getting leaked on Pornhub, that was pretty funny.
Yes, that was interesting. Sorry.
Isn't Todd like a porn? Like it says he's a porn star on Pornhub or something.
Oh my god, no!
I thought it did.
I don't know if that was real though. I don't know if
Oh.
that. I think the first image of the E3 presentation being put on Pornhub was fake, but
Oh,
this
okay.
one actually happened. Like people were linking me. I didn't click on it. I wasn't about to click on it, but people were actually linking me it, and I saw like Kotaku put an article up about it. I was like, oh my god,
Why aren't you gonna click on it?
this is not actual porn. Like,
It's just a video, Matt.
It's just.
I would have clicked on it out of curiosity to see what was in
I
the
saw
related
it on
section.
Kotaku though. They put screenshots up. It was like,
But what I'm saying is, I would click on it just to see what the related section would be like. You know what I mean?
God.
Apparently the title was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I can't remember, but it was really obscure and it didn't even mention Fallout, but people
Yeah.
still found it. It's great.
It's like all I remember was like tantalizing and teens, and I think something about like tight jeans or some shit. Like,
It was a reference to the Vault Dwellers or Lone Survivors or whatever's rather tight jumpsuit in
Yeah.
Fallout 4, I believe.
Nice.
like-
Well, he does have a nice bum. I'm going to be the first one.
Teens. I love it.
yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was like, holy fuck. I don't know how people found that
That's
shit.
funny. That's funny.
Are we shocked that gameplay leaked from Gamescom? QuakeCon
A little bit.
didn't see anything. I'm a little surprised because they
I
kept it
think-
locked down.
Well, QuakeCon was kept a bit more locked down because it was one presentation, but Gamescom, from the sounds of it, it seems like they ushered in people at different times, and
true.
it didn't seem like that they was as strict. Maybe because it wasn't Bethesda people in there. Maybe they used a subcontractor. Who knows? But maybe it was just the Gamescom people didn't keep a close enough lid on it, as opposed to QuakeCon, which is completely organized by Bethesda. So
Yeah.
who knows why it might have happened, but I don't think anyone's surprised. I think people are surprised that nothing leaked from QuakeCon, but then things leaked from Gamescom. So,
It's interesting. I mean, oh, you can go.
I'll say I was mildly surprised that they were quite so defensive of it. just because from the kind of the write-up and the little kind of snippets of information around it, of course, not commenting on what those might be, it didn't really seem to tell us much that we hadn't already seen, didn't already know, or hadn't already been able to intuitively figure out. It's not like there was any revelation of like a major plot twist or something. There was nothing in there that I would kind of think, this is so sensitive, I can see why they'd want to keep the lid on that.
I agree.
Yeah. It was just more gameplay.
Makes the reaction interesting.
That's why I was so mind-boggled on why people gave me so much shit for this. I'm like, I didn't see one fucking brand new thing in that gameplay, but between the two shoulders, like
hey, don't go too deep. I don't want to get banned.
That's not.
Bethesda's watching.
Yeah, they are. Todd's sitting there just completely sons of bitches. You know, like
I like those H.A.M Radio Time guys. Now I gotta kill them.
I bet they've seen at least an episode or maybe a little bit of one. I
don't know.
I like to
maybe what we missed here was actually that was what we haven't realized is that was actually the revelation of like the new hardcore mode. Like New Vegas introduced the hardcore mode. Fallout 3's hardcore mode is there's two slightly fat blokes whose shoulders are blocking about 2/3 of the screen, so you can't see what's going on. You've just got to figure out what's going on screen just from like a slither of light at the top and a bit in the middle. But other than that, there's just kind of and the camera just kind of keeps dipping up and down a little bit. So you can't.
So I'm gonna make a new video.
So hardcore.
I'm gonna make a new video.
You just got to figure out what's going on by like the sound and like some really oversaturated, a really oversaturated white tea, and that's all you've got to go on. That's the new hardcore mode. And if you complete it, you get like 20 points on your gamer score. It's brilliant.
That sounds terrible. Absolutely terrible. So you got like constant German accent in the background as well. Is that the new hardcore?
Now I want someone to mod this. I now want a mod for Fallout 4 on launch day, so you can put two fat bloke shoulders mod on. Just cover 2/3 of the screen with two fat bloke shoulders constantly.
That's brilliant.
Make it happen, somebody. Make it happen.
Yeah, really.
Fucking dog. Shut the fuck up. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good, dude. Were you calling John a dog? I mean,
no. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
John, sorry,
he
does this a lot.
Your boy.
No, but it was like, oh god, I think I could go on for so long about my own personal fucking Tabasco with this leak. I was just trying to like speak for myself and all these other YouTubers out there who like there's a clear-cut reason like no other YouTubers are even talking about this. Yeah, like even Brian was like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the leak. I was like, okay, so no one's talking about it. What doesn't anyone get?
What does it mean?
The people that did talk about it, though, Matty, they highlighted Sugar Bombed, the good old Funhouse crew.
Hey,
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
and they got banned. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I watch them all the time, and then they're like, we found this post on Sugar Bomb. Like,
I didn't even know until someone tagged me in the video. I was like, oh shit, like, I did nothing for this. Like, how did this happen?
Matthew.
Yeah, I don't know how it. They were like, yeah, we traced the origin to Sugar Bomb. I'm like, of course, Bethesda has another reason to hate me now. it would trace back to the site that I'm a part of. Unreal.
Yeah, Todd Howard's coming after you, Matty. It's just happening. It just works.
Pete Hines cooking up another roast for me as we speak. Next news bit. This one's a little interesting. Like I said, this week's pretty interesting. ZeniMax and Oculus. If you guys remember a while ago, we talked about how they were in a little court case. And now this case is allowed to continue because the, quote, court indicates that ZeniMax has provided enough evidence to have its case heard. If the publisher is unable to succeed on its claim that Oculus misappropriated trade secrets, it will be able to seek damage for unjust enrichment, end quote. This comes from Game Informer, by the way, and so I thought this was interesting. This is actually still going on. I thought ZeniMax was being greedy, but I guess if the court's going to hear it out, then this could go on for a while.
It's one of those things where it's a corporation trying to protect their interests, and first of all, let's remember that it's ZeniMax is separate for somewhat from Bethesda, so but it does make sense the lawsuit, and this is me coming from a legal background, I know, but. When the employee
and a nice suit background, real quick.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Next time I wear a grey suit, I have to show you the picture.
I'm gonna sneeze.
But when an employee who's working at ZeniMax if, for example, and I'm not saying this actually happened because we don't know the outcome of the case, if an employee decides to work on something else or take knowledge or take secrets and apply that to a different company and make that company millions and millions of dollars, of course the company execs are going to be pissed off. And that's allegedly what's actually happened here. And when, it went to the court just to be heard, you don't need that much evidence to say, well, we want the case to be heard. It's a very, very low threshold. So I'm not surprised that this has gone to actual hearing. But it's going to be interesting to see where it ends, because the fact that we've only got to this stage now means they're going to be stuck in litigation for years, because Oculus is going to become very popular. And I'm sure ZeniMax is going to want a piece of the pie, especially if what they're alleging is... what am I trying to say? Alleging. Thank you. I'm tired. Fucking, I need coffee. But yeah, so it's not surprising to me that this is still ongoing, because legal battles usually take a while. So, yeah.
I for those who don't know, and you guys can help me out with this one, I believe the case is that John Carmack left id Software and apparently took some of the technology from id Software and applied it to the Oculus, the VR stuff. And ZeniMax is claiming that John has stolen that stuff when he could not, and since he's applying to Oculus now, ZeniMax wants some of that money that Oculus is obviously going to be making.
Yeah.
So,
if that is an accurate summation of events, it should be a fairly cut and dry one actually in ZeniMax's favour. It will generally say in any professional contract, if what you're doing while you're employed by the company, if you do it on company time, the company owns it. No matter and companies very rarely bother to enforce this, because it technically means if you leave a comment on a video games website in your lunch break while you're in the work office, then technically that comment is the property of the company. Correct. And they could demand ownership of it and be transferred to them after you leave. Most people very rarely bother, but it's a fairly common clause. And if they can prove that it was worked on during paid hours while he was there, it should actually be a pretty cut and dry one in ZeniMax's favour. But that, of course, depends on if they can prove that.
Correct. And that's always the problem with these kinds of cases. It's usually an employee during their spare time, as you said, John, at work, doing something, and then the company's claiming ownership of that because, you're working, you're on our time, and you're an employee using our trade secrets and our information. So whatever you're doing is ours. And those are really, really tough cases to prove, because quite equally, he could have been going home and doing prep for Oculus. I don't know what the case, the actual facts entail, but it just depends. I don't know what the laws, in America about this are either, but it's something that's very, very difficult to prove. So we're going to be seeing this drawn out in litigation for a long time. It's going to be appealed to all hell, I guarantee you. If ZeniMax gets any percentage of their profits, Oculus is going to appeal that straight away. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. It's interesting now that this kind of resurfaced, because what happens with a lot of these video game related court cases, that they'll just pop up, be the news for a few days, and then all of a sudden they'll disappear and they'll resurface many, many, many months later. Yeah. And it's pretty interesting how that's evolved into this.
Exactly. But we'll see the outcome of the case when it finally drops. But I guarantee you, no one's going to go down kicking and screaming. Someone's going to be victorious with a lot of money out of this.
Sheesh. All right. Next piece of news. Fallout Shelter for the Android has launched.
Yeah.
Yay.
I want to check my shelter. Excuse me. No, I want to talk about this game. All right.
If you have an Android, you're wrong.
Let's talk about this. We're gonna hand Lone the mic here. He's gonna talk about it from his perspective as a first-time shelterer. And John, John, do you have iPhone or Android?
Android, but I've seen a lot of news about Shelter, and I've seen other people playing Shelter. I haven't actually been excited enough to go out and play it, because I've been playing the kind of similar-ish Sheltered, which is an indie game that's very similar, which I've just kind of been enjoying so much. I just haven't got round to it.
Someone just made the same game. I'm gonna fuck it.
All right then, Lone. It's all yours.
Welcome to the Lone Podcast, guys. I've been playing Fallout Sheltered. And I just said Fallout Sheltered. I got the name wrong. No, seriously, it's a pretty decent game. I'm someone that's not really into mobile games at all.
I hate
it. But yeah, well, I just don't have enough time during the day to play. If I'm in an elevator or in a bathroom or whatever, I might pull out the phone and just check on the
I always play it
progress
when
on
I'm
my
taking
vault.
a dump.
Well, yeah, no, that's pretty much the thing, right?
Yeah.
But it is an interesting game. I fucked up my first vault, so I'm trying again because I didn't know the mechanics. Because I refused to look at wikis and stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to enjoy it on my own terms, but it's pretty fun so far, I will say.
Yeah, I as someone who started off, like many others, playing it on the iPhone and seeing like the big update that they brought in with the Android launch, it makes a lot of differences. Like for me personally, I thought that Fallout Shelter, when it came to combat, you don't obviously do much. You just watch your dwellers fight and hope that they don't die, and you can just heal them as time goes on. But I noticed that they updated the combat where your shots don't miss as much. You actually your dwellers lose health a lot quicker now. That's another thing I noticed. It's a lot more smooth where the frames don't drop anymore. The chances of failure for certain things are much higher. It's a lot of certain things that made it more intense, for lack of better words, because Fallout Shelter originally lost my interest because I built a great vault. I was at above 90% happiness with and I know a lot of people have me beat here, but with about 40 dwellers or so, which isn't bad. And at that point I just stopped playing because it was so easy. And now that there's a lot of times I can fail when I try to rush a room, resources decrease more often. The percentage of raider attacks and mole rat attacks, which are new in the update, happening, are little things that make it a little more difficult, cause me to be more attentive to the game again. I thought it was a good move for people like me who lost interest and are just looking for more Fallout stuff on the road to Fallout 4. It's a good update though. I like it. I haven't been attacked by a death claw yet though. I really want that to happen.
Well, your whole vault's just gonna get fucking destroyed.
Dude, I have some good ass weapons in my vault.
I have a
Well,
no. I had something good, but I think the guy I sent out someone with the field into the field and they got killed, and I was like, and I forgot to revive them. So
Wow.
yeah, that was
You're a
my
terrible overseer now.
yeah. I'm, like I said, taking a dump when I play.
Anyway.
And my best
Excellent.
dweller is Dr. Lee. She's level 44. She kicks ass.
Nice.
Kicks ass.
I will say it's fun seeing people tweet out pictures of their game saying, "Oh, I named you my game Lone, blah blah blah." And then Maddie had a very interesting series of tweets. What was it called? The Love Chronicles?
Yes, between you and I. It was I made me a balding old guy and Noah Lone
Are you cheating on me with Noah?
I'm sorry.
Am I even in your vault?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What I bet.
You're
I bet I'm an. I don't mean this to offend anybody, but I bet I'm an African American lady or something
you're just some bitch. That's all you are.
Fuck.
I think actually I'm African American lady. Aren't
Yeah,
I?
you are an African American lady with great hair.
Excellent.
Who don't need no man.
Excellent.
Made it so first tweet was me and Lone just doing the things where they shake their hands and they're intimate, and then I think I said I screenshot one of Lone saying, or me saying to Lone we make such a cute couple, then us in the room with the little happy symbols, and then me just sprinting out of the room away from Lone as quick as possible, and him stumbling out pregnant. I was like, oh my god. It was so funny. It's so much more funny and more enjoyable when you actually label the dwellers in your
Yeah, I
vault.
haven't done that, honestly.
It's so much more fun because you just make the most fucked up things, when you the most messed up thing. I'm gonna get so much shit for this. The most messed up thing, and no, you'll know who I'm talking about, but I took Connor and Chandler and made them have a kid.
That's so weird.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that's one of my best friends and his sister. But it's like that. But that fucked up stuff makes it so much more enjoyable because I'm sitting there in my bedroom just cracking up on my phone because I'm just doing so much messed up shit. But that's the fun part. It's you're the overseer. You make your own vault experiment and you just do shit. It's fun.
I've seen pictures of Elder Lions and Sarah Lions.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh no! Fuck's sake. Don't worry, John. We'll name someone after you in the game. It'll happen.
Plenty of people have. I've seen plenty of characters from my series in the game, me in the game. I've seen it a few times. It's I don't know. I think it's a nice touch. I don't know. I struggle with the context of Fallout Shelter because I don't know. I just can't turn in my brain. I just can't turn off the fact that I keep looking at it, just thinking, we never find vaults in the main Fallout series that look anything like this. These vaults are happy and seem to be well run and are extremely populous, and they seem to be run by an overseer who wants to make people happy and actually makes the societies prosper, and that never happens.
Maybe. I was going to say, guys, plot twist, all right? This is an experiment. There's another overseer experimenting with us as overseers, controlling a vault. It's all part of it. It's all fucking Vault-Tec. They're behind everything. That's the plot twist.
Oh, jeez.
I just feel like a trick was missed. The entire point of the game isn't that you get given missions by Vault-Tec to do incredibly messed up things, and that's where the actual challenge in the game is. I just think, given that's the whole point of how most of the Vault-Tec vaults went, I don't know. I just think it's really weird that that's not the point of the game.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. I would have preferred it, actually, if at some point there are different things that you find out about the vault. Like, for example, this one has a certain experiment going on. That I think that could twist it up, and actually that would be really fun. So you'll get to, like, I don't know, a certain amount of vault dwellers, and you'll find out what the true experiment is of the vault, and you're going to deal with that as the overseer. I think that could be a cool mechanic, and it would stay true to the lore of Fallout. So maybe we'll see something similar in a future update. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like we talked about this a while ago, but I feel like Fallout Shelter isn't just gonna like taper off after Fallout 4. Like, I feel like it's just too good of an idea where you could just kind of not like where it would live on forever, and you could just keep adding things to it. But it has like enough good ideas out there on the internet where I feel like Bethesda could take one or two to kind of keep the game's life going. I mean, it's made them a lot of money for a free game, so I feel like they're probably gonna keep investing in this in different ways until it's kind of wrung dry. But maybe then again, the hype period is what makes this game so special. Who knows if I'm going to want to play a mobile Fallout game once Fallout 4 comes out. I'm not leaving my house, so what the fuck do I need my phone for?
Okay.
No, I'm not. I've told my girlfriend I'm not talking to you for about a month, so sorry.
I've told her as well. I'm like, not your girlfriend. I made it sound like we have the same
Your girlfriend.
Lone, I told your girlfriend as well. I will not be speaking to her.
I'm glad you did, Matty, because that would be weird otherwise.
That's fantastic.
That's excellent. I'm seriously considering taking leave off work.
Yeah, that was so much better. Like, I was gonna say, yeah, I'll tell my. Oh wait, but Matt's joke, it was so much better.
Fuck you, know.
How about this for news? Fallout Shelter hacked. Yeah, you heard that right.
Wait, really?
Yeah, apparently it's very common for Android users to do this on the mobile games on their little devices. But they've cheated, thus giving them the maximum amount of caps, and I guess there's like a leaderboard system that and just like they broke the game basically. And I wanted to bring this up more so because like what the fuck does this accomplish? Like, what is fun about that? The fun of Fallout Shelter is to put time into your vault every now and then because it's got like a time
What's the point of anyone hacking in a game for power?
With Call of Duty it matters because I want to be at the top of the leaderboards. I get that rush when I'm.
Are you hacking? Are you a hacker, dude?
I'm a hacker. God knows.
Get reported.
Hey, Matty. Do you ever use console commands on Fallout?
Does
Yeah.
Boom!
That's not hacking.
No.
It's cheating, Matty.
It's there.
This door's locked. Hold up. Let me just use no clip.
I have done that a bunch of times.
That's excellent.
But
continue, Matty.
Well, what I was saying was, I was trying to have a sensual speech. Is that Fallout Shelter is a game about, you put your time in whenever you want to. You build up your vault as time goes on. It's just a progressional kind of thing that you enjoy the ride, and then once you're done, you're done. But, like, what does hacking do? All right, I got 999,000 fucking caps. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to buy every room, fill it with dwellers, and that's it. Like, it's like, that's so boring. You're done with the game in an hour.
That is true.
I don't know.
God. Can you guys hear my dog barking?
No.
Yeah, tell him to shut up. I'm just kidding. I can hear him.
I wish I had that problem where my dog could bark and you just couldn't hear it. But it's like every sound in my house has just gone off during this podcast. I jinxed it because I said in the beginning, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
Like, and then your garage door open.
And then my house explodes.
Yeah.
And then 50 Fallout 4 memes get sent to me because that explosions mean Fallout.
Let's go, pal.
We had him on the podcast. That was great.
No, I was mocking someone putting it over a meme and thinking they were the funniest. Anyways.
I love Brian because he always calls everyone pal. It's great. He called me pal the other day. I didn't fanboy though.
Everyone gets genuine excitement.
That's like the most common meme of me now. He called me pal.
Oh my god, he called me pal. We're like friends now.
He quoted my tweet this morning.
That's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Have you ever talked to Brian yet, John, on Twitter? He's very active.
No, actually. No. I haven't.
He would fall in love with you, so just say hey.
We'll introduce you. Hold on. Let me see.
A live introduction as we speak. Here we go.
Is he on?
Is it?
How does Brian not respond? Brian responds to everybody. He's been tweeting out some awesome pictures about like Courtney and Cal and like all these group photos and stuff.
I don't think he's on right now anyways.
Guys, someone's ringing my doorbell. Oh, fucking hell. I have to be back. 1 second.
God,
this podcast just got 5 times worse because Lone is gone.
Literally, and it was already fucking awful. I'm just kidding.
This is just a bad one. Yeah. Episode 3. Fuck, I'm off too.
John, what do you like to do in your fun time other than YouTube? Or fun time, spare time.
I don't really have that. I do a day job, then I come home and do YouTube.
What's your day job? What's your social like your credit card number too? Your address.
Where do you work?
I'm just kidding.
I do sporadic. I do a little bit of. I do various bits and pieces for a couple of very small companies.
Okay.
I do very various little bits and pieces. I never kind of go into exactly what it is because it's a very small. It's a couple of small companies, and I like to keep them a little bit separate. But yeah, I do digital stuff for a couple of small companies. People would find it incredibly dull if they people kind of think I kind of holding the details because I want to keep it a terrible secret. No, it's mainly because it would just be incredibly boring. People aren't generally very excited by data analytics and kind of similar bits and pieces, but
that's where you're wrong. I live for data analytics.
I love Excel. Can I just say I bloody love Excel. Excel's wonderful.
What the fuck have I come into?
This is like a common thing.
I spent an entire day last week taking raw data from a database and plugging it into a live worksheet that could basically just churn out projection modeling and could just be refreshed. And it updates itself, and you can and there's 3,000 lines in that bad boy. It's future-proof. You can plug marketing codes and voucher codes and anything into it, and it will give you not only a 30-day projection, but a projected 24-month ROI on those SKUs, and you can put 3 SKUs on it at once.
An ROI, you're telling me?
Sexy.
Wow,
it's sexy. That's my day job. That's why I don't talk about it. It's not because it's secret. It's because it's bloody boring. At this
point, I'm just jealous, honestly. I mean,
such a dick.
I'm just kidding.
That sounds like you clearly have a very math-oriented brain. I'm guessing you like all that stuff then, right?
I wasn't. I gave up on maths for flipping ages. I kind of just dropped it at school and did languages instead. But maybe I shouldn't have done because I do a lot of math. I do a lot of mathsy and analytically stuff and like quant stuff these days. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have done.
Interesting.
It was one of those. I was actually specifically told not to. There was a rather awkward moment when I was at school, and this is a story from over a flipping decade ago. When I tried to drop maths, I was angrily confronted by the head of maths. In halfway across one of the school areas, who demanded to know why I wasn't taking maths and further maths for my A levels.
Should have told him to step the fuck off.
I'm not sure that was an idiom that existed in British English then or indeed now. It probably would have just confused him and everyone around.
Posh, just like, please, add a please.
Sir, please step the F back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
sounds perfect.
Yes.
I'm not a yeah.
Oh my god. I'm good.
Excuse Matty, John. I'm
just laughing. I don't know what the hell is so funny about that, but I'm just picturing like John just like, please step the F off.
I do have a question for you. Do you know of the show called Little Britain?
Yeah, it hasn't been on for quite a while. I don't know I think it was exported and might still be going in some countries. But yeah, we had it years and years back. That must have been 2004 or something. It ran for maybe 5 series, and then I don't think it has been on for a while because David Williams, the guy who did it, he hasn't done that show in Britain at least for quite a while. So I think it might came out for like a Christmas special, but yeah, it hasn't been on for a while at this point. But yeah, everyone knew it. It's very popular.
Yeah, they did a shut up. I know we're in a podcast, but they did a little snippet of like something called "Come Fly with Me," and it was a similar documentary style thing, only in the British airport and similar characters and stuff. It was fantastic. Anyways, yeah.
I think I heard about that. I'm not sure I ever saw it. I never really heard about it again, so I'm not sure if it were like... was there only a pilot, or did it make one series and then was never renewed? I'm not sure.
It was a small series. It was only like 6 episodes. It was like only meant to be that.
Oh, that's a normal series in Britain. I love that. When we import our series over to America and like we show our full series, and then everyone's like, well, where the hell's episode 7? It's like, sorry, you don't get episode 7 till next series. And if you want to get episode 24, that's another 4 or 5 series away. So good luck with that.
Yeah, here Breaking Bad, a season lasts for like 37 episodes. So
holy shit,
it works brilliantly because it works really well for British broadcasters, because what they can do is they can buy a single American series and then they can just split it up into and pretend it's 6 series, and they're sorted for programming for the next 5 years off a single series that was supposed to run over half a year.
Oh.
I want that one. That's all I remember from.
I want that one. I want that one.
No, you don't like that one. I don't like it.
Andy! Yeah. And then his handler. Matt's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but we'll come back to the podcast now.
It's fine, guys. I allow you guys to mingle.
Beaver and hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Yeah. Anyways.
Hey, Andrew, what's up? So on to our next segment, the Bethesda Spotlight, where we like to talk about something special in this little community of Bethesda. Who would like to go first?
Noah has to go first. I'm sure he's thought of something.
Fuck. Wait, god damn it. Which segment are we on? Oh, I was laughing at
you said you were fucking you were prepared too, you said.
Well, I was laughing at what you said. Hey, Andrew. Anyways.
Just look up MLG Guide to the Internet for those who are wondering. It's so worth it. It's amazing.
But what's it called? We're looking at the Bethesda Spotlight?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Yeah, I didn't even play... I played Hearthstone. Oh, Blacklight Retribution, which is not Bethesda at all, recently got updated and is now in tune with the PS4 version on PC. The game itself has been dead on PC for like 2 years now, or a year, give or take. And now it's kind of pumping back up, and I love that game. It's so much fun to play. It's a free-to-play. But yeah, so it's pumped back up now on PC, and now it's on PS4 and stuff, so... Yeah, I'm happy about that. That's what I've kind of been doing. So that's my Bethesda Spotlight.
That's great, Noah. That's beautiful.
Who would like to go? Okay. So mine is actually, in a sense, really nothing to do with Bethesda, but it ties in. I just purchased a brand new computer that is going to be able to run Fallout 4 easily on Ultra with 60 frames per second. And I could not be more excited.
Only 60? Loser.
Well, I don't know. Who knows? If it's at 60, you know what? Whatever. That's what apparently the human eye
I don't think... Is it locked? I don't think it's locked.
No,
it's not.
No, they said there's no FPS cap on Fallout 4.
Probably be something like 80 or 100, maybe even more.
Yeah, but the specs are sexy. What's
the GPU?
The GPU. It's a.
What's a GPU?
No. Fuck. What is it? The 980 Ti.
God,
nice.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Nice. I only got the 970.
Now I'm jealous.
It was right below the Titan.
What's the processor?
I almost jumped for the Titan, but it's no one makes use of the Titan. It's like, I'm not gonna spend like $1,000 on something that.
Well, the new Titan, if you can have for years and be fine.
Yeah, it would be future proof, but I feel like when I need to upgrade,
the 980 is fine too, though. That is equally good.
i7 6-core processor, 3.30 gigahertz. I originally had quad core, so upgrading to 6-core helps. 32 gigs of RAM. That's beautiful because apparently video editing is very memory intensive, and I only have 8 gigs of RAM. So that's a huge ass upgrade there. And what else is important for computers? 3 terabytes of memory. That's
retarded. I'm just gonna shit on this. I'm jealous. So
no, but it helps a lot because Fraps records in ginormous.
Fraps.
file sizes. I said fraps obnoxiously because I'm picturing use shadow play, Maddie. I'm just fucking. I was literally, dude. All right, I'm gonna tell you a quick personal story. I'm gonna tell you a quick personal story.
Shadow play.
I was taking.
Shadow play.
I was taking. Okay, you guys are gonna think I'm so weird. I was taking my pre-shower dump. Okay, I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking like of Risk Comics. Okay, because I was on Twitter, I saw his name, and I thought of like a comic series he was writing about that Fallout Signal thing. And I thought of like, this is obviously gonna be a wacky story about us. I just pictured like me having this victorious run to like the finish line of some form in this comic book, and just like Lone's encouraging line, just his face is fading in the background. He's like, Maddie, use shadow play. So keep pushing me onwards.
What the fuck is the matter?
Yeah, I sound like I'm a fucking like crazy drug addict, but I swear,
use shadow play.
Use the shadow play, Maddie. Like, because I think of Luke, use the force. Like,
John, to give you a bit of context, so I don't know how many times Maddie's recording is fucked up for the podcast, and every time I record it for the podcast, it always works because I use shadow play, and he decides to use fraps or some shit. I don't know. So I keep telling him to use shadow play, so I don't have to keep sending him the video file for the podcast. It's really frustrating, but whatever. That's another story.
Yeah, that's wow. I can't believe I told that story, but it just happened. Like, I was just on Twitter and my mind just went from one place to another, and literally like 30 seconds I was like, okay, back to reality now.
Use
back
shadow
to reality.
Yeah, just
Oop,
there's
there
no
goes
one
gravity.
in the background. Use shadow play, Maddie.
That's awesome. John, would you like to go next? Hello?
Yes, I suppose I should bring attention to the fact that obviously we've got Dishonored Definitive Edition coming out soon, which, as far as I can tell from every source that I can find, is adding completely nothing. They just can't be bothered to add a single cocking thing into the game.
Not even like
So that's
it's
disappointing,
DLC
isn't it?
content. That would be fun. Oh. That's a bit disappointing because
I'm not sure. As far as I can tell, it's just the existing DLC, and just they say they're polishing up the graphics and bring it up to like high PC and PC standard. But I've kind of looked at side by side, and I really struggle to see much improvement here.
Not to interrupt you, but I actually have Dishonored on the PC, and don't get me wrong, there's a difference. But when it comes to graphics, like, I don't see a huge difference at all. Like, it's slightly there, but it's nothing noticeable where it should be charging full retail price. Or I think $20 if you have it already, and like
you
40...
can upgrade it. You can upgrade, which is a nice function. It's a nice feature that you can upgrade it for half price.
But why would you upgrade it? For the up-res graphics? Is that it? There's nothing else? I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's a little... I was talking about this on stream yesterday, how games were kind of being uselessly redone. You know, like someone jokingly said in my chat, like Witcher 3, HD, upgrade or whatever, something like that. And it was a joke, obviously. The game just fucking came out. You guys get it. It's a funny joke. Laugh. But the thing is, it's like that's kind of what it feels like lately. Is like the games that came out like 4 years ago, which look fine, are now having these revamped. It's like, why? Stop. Put your efforts somewhere else. Like, it's kind of it's part of me says it's a money grubber thing. Like, actually, all of me says it's a money grubber thing.
I mean, but it's like, you think of it from their perspective, they're probably sitting there like, well, people are buying them. Sure, why the fuck not?
Well, and that's exactly the point, though. Like people will buy them. That's how EA thinks. Ooh, shots fired. Bang, bang.
Did you just confirm that Bethesda is EA?
Yep. Bang bang.
Jesus.
Here, buy a season pass for Fallout 4. I'm just kidding.
It makes sense in the terms where, like,
that'll be
a lot of people could have passed up, or maybe did pass up on Dishonored, and this is a way to get it in the talks with a, quote, definitive edition that really doesn't change anything, but just gets the game out there again. Because you can't just put out, like, Dishonored's discounted, then some people will jump for it, most people won't, and it'll just be kind of there. I think they try, but they're trying to get into everyone's hands in different ways, I think, because, like I said, the Steam discounts are always there. You got the, it was free on PS Plus at one point. I'm sure it's been on games for gold at some point as well, but don't say I'm on the money with that one because I'm not sure. And then this, so it's Well,
is it the case now that it's coming out to Xbox One and PS4?
Yeah,
is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay,
Both
that
of
makes
them,
sense.
I think
Yeah.
what we need is we need just a little bit more clarity, and I think we need an independent body to sort this out for when a game is and is not allowed to call itself Game of the Year Edition, Definitive Edition, Ultimate Edition, and so forth, where if you want to do that, you can, but you've got to apply to this independent council and submit evidence that you've actually done something to make it worthwhile, or you've got good enough reviews or enough fans. And if you don't, you get rejected, and you just have to, you're then legally obliged to launch the game anyway, but you just have to call it such and such Cash Grab Edition.
Yeah, it's like if you get a Game of the Year award. If you get a Game of the Year award from K-Drama Stars, you're not allowed to call your game Game of the Year Edition.
Oh my god.
What was it recently? Something in the last year pretty much launched and did its Game of the Year Edition like at launch. What was it? It was a pretty major release as well, but I'm trying to remember what it was now.
That's so stupid.
There was something that had a Game of the Year edition, like you could pre-order Game of the Year. How can you pre-order a Game of the Year?
Part of me wants to say Dragon Age Inquisition, but I could be wrong.
Probably.
I think it might be.
I'm thinking EA. It won Game of the Year everywhere.
I will say Dragon Age Inquisition, however, didn't need to do that, because Dragon Age Inquisition had, I think, possibly the most effective marketing campaign I've ever seen in history. Like, just occasionally, I will just find myself muttering, "Something's coming, something's on its way" to myself, and then that's the only bit of the song I know, because at that point I skipped, because I think I was served that pre-roll ad several thousand times in the run-up to Dragon Age Inquisition coming out.
Doesn't that get annoying when you already own a game or you've pre-ordered it and you keep seeing the ads for it? I'm like, I already bought your game. Stop showing me ads. Leave me alone.
And then show like snippets of it, and you're like, I remember that part. Like, I don't know. I always do that.
The thing was, I never let that ad finish, so I've no idea what was coming or what was on its way. I mean, I'm guessing it was a dragon, but I was never sure.
So.
That game just underwhelmed me so
big
much. I was, after like everything that failed in 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition was my last hope, and it just failed me. Like, it wasn't amazing.
In 2013, or was 2014 the worst year, or 2013?
2014 was like the worst.
2014 was pretty bad, yeah.
2013 had some good hits in it. I think Crisis,
GTA 5.
Crisis 3, GTA 5.
The Last of Us, Bioshock Infinite.
Has there been a single year in the past 3 years that GTA 5 hasn't launched, though?
GTA 5, I know, that is a very...
Don't trigger me. Don't trigger me.
Noah is like, she sleeps with GTA every night. It's got some weird obsession with it.
They're going to relaunch the Definitive Edition next year.
My opinion on this remaster stuff is that it should be like the top pricing to sell for is $40, and that if you're going to remaster something, it can't be from the 360 and PS3 generation. Bring something back from like PS2 that people haven't experienced, that people could have missed.
Has to be at least 10 years old.
Yeah.
Rare replay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Rare replay is a perfect example of like taking a bunch of games and bringing them to the modern age. There's so many games on Rare Replay that I'm like, oh crap, I didn't know Rare made this, or oh crap, I've never played this. This is awesome. You know?
Yeah. It was just kind of shitty with Rare Replay, and I understand licensing issues, but they could have gotten GoldenEye. They could have brought so many games that Rare did, and they couldn't. It was.
They brought in a good batch. Battletoads was awesome.
Battletoads,
the arcade edition, the fucking original Battletoads. No.
The game was so hard that they added in that rewind feature. I'm like, is this a cheat? Like, I don't remember this ever being in the game, because if it was, I would not have raged as a kid. Like, that was a hard game.
I was trying to figure out the GoldenEye license the other day. It's really become the village bike of the Bond game franchises. We've had the original GoldenEye. Somehow EA got their hands on it long enough to make GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which had nothing to do with the film GoldenEye, apart from bafflingly having the same name as it. They made a Bond game called GoldenEye that was just about some bloke who was an arsehole who had a golden eyeball, and there was a computer, and it had nothing to do with the satellite at all. Then Activision somehow got their hands on it, along with the rest of the Bond franchise. I don't know why they didn't have it in the first place, and made GoldenEye Reloaded, where they kind of remade Rare's GoldenEye, except they put Daniel Craig in it rather than Pierce Brosnan, and changed some of the lines of dialogue, but not all of them. But Tina Turner's song was still in it. And they changed some of the it was really weird. I thoroughly recommend playing GoldenEye Reloaded just for a slight head trip, because like you can sort of see the Pierce Brosnan film in there, but it's had Daniel Craig dragged through it, kicking and screaming when he didn't really fit very well. And now there's been 3 GoldenEye games that are all completely different that don't make any sense. It's wonderful.
That's really
and I don't know
weird.
how the hell that happened to the license. I don't know when EA got their hands on this and how they were able to make GoldenEye Rogue Agent.
I gotta say that I have some fucking fond-ass memories with James Bond games. Double Agent, Nightfire, Everything or Nothing. Oh my god, like all those games.
Agent Under Fire. Don't you bloody forget Agent Under Fire.
Was it Agent Under Fire? I think Double Agent. Yeah, I think
Agent Under Fire was kind of shit. You'll remember
Was that the one that was on the original Xbox?
That was the one where all the guns fired ping pong balls. It was brilliant. The bullets traveled so slowly and they were massive white spheres.
I know what the box
I
art
don't even know what's
looks like.
happening at this
It was
point.
actually beautiful. You could actually kind of draw in the air like with Sparkler with the guns. It was so good.
Hold on, I gotta just look up Double Agent and see if that's the one I'm thinking of.
My brother always used to,
It had an amazing multiplayer. That was the thing about Agent Under Fire. It had a great multiplayer.
my brother and I would play split screen, and he would screen peek because he was a bastard. And yeah, but it was fun as shit.
It had 2 things in it that's all you need to have a good shooter multiplayer. It had a bloody good shotgun and a bloody good sniper rifle, and everything else was arse, but it doesn't actually matter at that point. You've got a good shotgun and a good sniper rifle.
What were you calling it again?
And the golden gun.
What were you calling it again? It was 007.
Agent Under Fire.
Agent Under Fire.
I know it was on the GameCube because I played the GameCube version. I'm certain it was on the PS2. I don't know if it was Xbox.
Yep, this is it. Oh my god. Yep, Agent Under Fire that's the one I'm thinking of, not Double Agent. Agent Under Fire. Double Agent doesn't even fucking exist. Holy crap. Yeah, this game was awesome. That's the first...
He also I loved he had the laser watch was in it. So he had a short range laser watch, but it only worked on padlocks. Like you could shoot someone in the face with a laser watch and they wouldn't even react.
Didn't it have a taser in it though too? It had a taser you could use, and it wasn't like one of the first levels, like a snow level, or am I just thinking?
I think you're thinking of Nightfire, because one of Nightfire's first 3 levels was a snow level. The first level in it was you were in like a helicopter shooting down with the sniper rifle. I remember the funnest part about Age Under Fire was definitely finding the golden gun on each level. That was like a cool little thing, because you picked it up.
One shot, and
it was a fucking deagle, golden deagle. You're like boom, boom.
I want to give a probably controversial opinion. I thought Perfect Dark was better than GoldenEye.
It was
generally.
It was.
Yes, it was great.
No one's going to complain about that.
It was James Bond.
GoldenEye is the original, and it started everything, which I completely agree. Like GoldenEye revolutionized multiplayer, or it fucking started it. I don't know how far back in history, but Perfect Dark took at least GoldenEye 007 and just made that the perfect game. What a brilliant game.
Anyone who claims GoldenEye 007 is better than Perfect Dark just needs to be sat down with the 2 side by side on the original N64. Just do it, because the frame rate on GoldenEye, on the original GoldenEye, fell apart. It fell apart. Perfect Dark was much higher frame rate when 4 players were on it.
And
plus
Perfect
much better
Dark, you could play against bots. You could,
the bots were good.
I had the fondest memories of myself and my brothers and my sisters.
And your bots.
We would just... Yes, and we would just fucking verse the hardest bots, like as many as you could all day, and I would just wreak havoc with the double maulers and the laptop gun. Oh my god, I'm having a nerdgasm right now. That was a great game.
Yeah, the Perfect Dark with 8 bots and 4 players worked more smoothly and better than GoldenEye with just 4 players. The frame rate was better.
That's true.
And you can't... That's a big bloody problem for a shooter, for a Twitch shooter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. And Perfect Dark also had some iconic levels of GoldenEye as well. So I think it was Complex and Facility. Those were the greatest levels, and no one ever liked Temple.
Why not Bunker? Bunker was... Why didn't they bring the Bunker 2 level forward? I was always confused why that didn't make it forward, because Bunker 2 was a brilliant multiplayer level in GoldenEye, and I don't know why it didn't come forward with the others, because Temple was great. Felicity
you like Temple? I hated Temple.
Temple was fine. I was never keen on Complex. I was not keen on Complex. Complex was fine. I think it was just a little bit too narrow in places. I would have rather had Bunker 2 over Complex.
See, this is where our ages, separate us, because
I know the games, but I
didn't play multiplayer split screen until really until I'd say like. This wasn't when it started, but like my fond memories of split screen multiplayer were Halo.
I
can't believe GoldenEye started multiplayer gunplay. Like
GoldenEye was big, yeah. I played that a lot.
It was a great game.
But that's why I always think of Halo. Like I love Halo.
But then mentioning other games that wasn't included in Rare Replay, fucking Donkey Kong 64.
Well,
That's because it's
couldn't. How
Nintendo.
could they?
That didn't surprise me that they didn't have that. I thought they could have wiggled in GoldenEye maybe, but Donkey Kong didn't surprise me at all. Because they just made one for the Wii U, like a new one. I think.
It's frustrating. Like Nintendo is so protective. Like Nintendo owning the IP, so protective of their IP that even though it was Rare that developed the game, it couldn't be included in this. This was a homage, I guess, to the fans, and it was fan service. But Nintendo was probably like, nah, you can't do it. Nah, can't take.
They were just
I would like to think that the fact that Rare Replay opens with a big musical number was a little reference to the DK rap. I would like to think that it opens with that musical number was a little reference.
Dude, Donkey Kong 64 was so good. I don't think that would have been in Rare Replay with Donkey Kong 64. That was like my favorite Donkey Kong game. I love that thing to death because you got to play as all the Donkey Kong family, but like in this 3D world, and like each one had their own abilities, and there were secret areas to unlock. Dude, that game was so fucking badass. Like it doesn't get enough credit, I feel. And it had a yellow cartridge. It was so fitting. I was like, yes, this fits the fucking game.
Also, as well, what I've been playing a lot of is fucking Killer Instinct. That game is the shit.
The original one.
It's Killer Instinct
so
Gold.
Bad in comparison to the new one. Double Helix made Killer Instinct so good. I can't play
Matty, that Killer Instinct was the fucking bomb.
It was back then, but now
was.
I played Mortal Kombat back then. I was a fucked
I played everything. I played Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct.
Street Fighter. Oh god.
See, I have bad memories of Killer Instinct Gold because there was just the problem that whenever we played it, everyone just played as Inferno and did his little charge attack constantly, and anyone who didn't play as Inferno just got beaten by Inferno just doing the charge attack over and over. So it was just always Inferno versus Inferno, and we were never quite sure how to beat Inferno's little kind of chargy forward attack. No one was ever sure. It was very annoying.
But Saberwolf, man. Saberwolf, Jago, Glacius. I loved Glacius for a while. I've always liked the ice characters in fighting games, like Sub-Zero, Glacius.
Of course you like Sub-Zero. He's so... Oh, God. Him and Scorpion are so OP. Like, just make a Mortal Kombat game without them. I'd love to see how good people are. Because I get so annoyed when I'm on a roll in Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 9. I was just on a roll, killing everybody, and then all of a sudden, here comes Scorpion, 90 and 9. I'm like, I'm gonna lose. This guy clearly knows every spam move, and I just want them to make a Mortal Kombat game without him. I'm the only fucking Mortal Kombat fan who just says remove those two characters because I'm tired. I know people will find new OP characters, but they bring the same movesets over with these characters each game, so everyone knows how to fight with them from the start, and they just destroy. It's not
get over here.
Yeah,
greatest move.
Yeah, get over here. Press R2, burn. So that all of a sudden I'm standing there staggered. Okay, now let me hit you with like a 6 fucking hit combo that'll take 40% of your health out. Like it's not. It's why I don't play the game.
You can't get rid of Sub-Zero and Scorpion. They're iconic characters.
Yes,
no,
you can.
you can't, Matty.
No.
Anyways, that was a nerdgasm right there about Rare Replay.
I think Lone, you still have to go.
I still have to go, and I'll cover it quickly. I fucking don't know. I was hoping that I'd think of something as you guys were talking. Let's. No, I don't know, guys. Help me out here. Fallout, Bethesda game, something.
Wow.
I'm putting you on the spot.
That was like one of the longest Bethesda Spotlight discussions we had. And you still didn't think of an idea.
I was preoccupied with Rare Replay. I really was. Man, okay. I will say though that the next game that I'm gonna play and finish is Wolfenstein. I still haven't finished that fucking thing.
Really?
Yeah. I can't believe because I played, and I'll mention this later. I played Spec Ops: The Line. Fucking awesome game. I hope I'm gonna play Wolfenstein that it has a great story as well because that's what's drawing me into video games nowadays. Good stories as opposed to actual fun gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll talk about Spec Ops: The Line, and hopefully everyone here has played it. So we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
Anyways, guess we'll move on to our next segment. What we're playing, and our favorite gaming news bits, where we talk about what we're playing and what our favorite gaming news bit was. I tried to make that intentionally awkward, but like you guys probably thought I was an idiot, right?
Can I talk about Spec Ops: The Line?
Acknowledge what I said. Don't fuck Spec Ops.
I haven't said anything for like 8 minutes. What?
Why don't you go then, huh? Twat.
Go what? What are we playing?
He wasn't even listening
with
to
me,
you.
so
that we're doing? I've been playing Hearthstone, so you know.
Why?
I haven't had a lot of time. I've been playing Hearthstone and Blacklight Retribution. That's kind of what I've all pretty much been able to play.
Too much working in the shop.
Detail.
What?
Go into detail now.
That's pretty okay. Well, Blacklight Retribution has a new kind of like it's a free to play, so it's got a new like scheme to it. They kind of updated certain things. It's not. It was never super pay to winny, but pay to win esque. But now it's like you don't have to grind as much. It's a little bit nicer to get certain things. So it's a solid free to play.
I like it. Yeah, I've put a decent amount of time into it. My free to play kick has been Dirty Bomb. I enjoy that a lot.
Dirty Bomb is fantastic. You and I need to play that.
If you play a lot of Halo and then you go on Dirty Bomb, I went 29 and 5 with a sniper. Like, oh god.
I didn't know you played Dirty Bomb, man.
Yeah, I play it whenever I'm just doing nothing. It's fun.
Oh, let me know next time. We'll play.
All right, dude. I'll LMK.
All right, cool. LMK, dude.
What about your favorite gaming news bit? Huh? Nah. Says Noah as he watches an MLG montage on YouTube.
He's probably watching YouTube videos right now.
Podcast. I am. What was it called? I don't really have one. I mean, the news, the leak from Gamescom was pretty interesting, but I don't want to include that. Like, it wasn't really my favorite either. It's the one that caught my attention, though.
Because it got a lot of traffic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna go with. Fuck you all.
He's back for a week.
It's great to have you back, Noah.
I'm sorry. Oh God, I hate you all.
Are you gonna be here next week, Noah?
That I don't know. I got my schedule today, so.
Okay, dude.
I can't control my work schedule.
Are you gonna be here in 2 weeks? And I'm not taking no as an answer.
I don't know.
You're gonna tell your boss I can't come in on Saturday because we're having the female protagonist of Fallout 4. What's a Fallout 4? Oh, I'll tell you what a Fallout 4 is.
I can't tell them I'm not gonna work on a Saturday.
Dude, honestly, I just pictured you clapping your boss in the face with 2 vans, just like that fucking handsome.
No, my boss is cool, but yeah, I
just say you're sick that day, Noah. It's fine.
I can't. Look, guys,
you can't
get in this conversation right now.
Well, you're upsetting the kid.
We love you. Yeah, I better stop. I'll quickly cover my bit. So, Spec Ops: The Line. Has everyone here played Spec Ops: The Line or not?
I have.
Yep.
Yeah, Noah?
What do you think?
Okay, probably not.
Nope.
So if you don't get spoiled, Noah...
Matt wanted... Oh, I don't care. Go ahead and spoil it. Matt wanted me to play it when it first came out, but I was like,
Okay, so spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't played Spec Ops: The Line, and I suggest you do, because it's fucking fantastic. Probably skip about a minute or so. But holy shit, that game, the choices that you have to make, it's just like this game that constantly kicks you in the teeth. You know, like... I was talking about this... No worries, it's probably good timing. It's a game that it presents a particular choice as you think it's the right thing to do. Like, for example, at the time where it's like, oh, the white phosphorus, we need to kill all this army. And you're like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And then I'm killing him, and then at this one point I see these white markers everywhere. And in my head, I'm like, nah, this is not right. Like, who the fuck are they? It must be some sort of camp. But I did it anyway. And I fucking killed that entire encampment. And I felt like the biggest piece of shit. But the game, like, kind of tricks you kind of into thinking that you should be picking that option. And then it fucks you over in the end with that, you know, the fact that you killed the child and the mother and all of those innocent people. Yeah. That game is really dark, man. Holy crap.
There's no right choice is what the point of the game is. They just give you 2 really bad choices, and you just got to pick the one that fits your, you know, who you are. What would you do in that situation? What's cool about it is because, like I said, there's no good choice. So it's not like, oh, I'm doing a good guy playthrough. It's like these are hard choices that you don't win in them. So you just got to make the choice that you would go with when you're there. And that's what puts you in that fucking game. It's so,
exactly. I mean,
so good.
Even with like, oh, we need to save Gould or we need to save the civilians. I'm like, we need to save Gould because that's going to help save more lives if we can keep, you know, doing this, right?
Dies anyways.
But then he dies anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I said. Like, he's like, come on, Gould, come on. I'm like, come on, get the fuck up. I just like a bunch of people get shot because of you, and you're gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah. And John, what do you think about the game?
Sorry, I'm back.
I think it's a very interesting kind of takedown, obviously, of a lot of kind of gaming a lot of other sorts of gaming, which I think is fascinating. I always like kind of things that deconstruct a different form of gaming. I wonder kind of whether everyone kind of picks up on kind of all of the little touches, especially kind of the perception pieces. Obviously, a lot of modern war games these days have this, and I'm not sure where the hell this started. I'm not sure why the hell it's so persistent. The kind of the section where you hop into a plane and everything goes into like the whatever it is, infrared night scope thing, where everything's grey and white, and you just bomb the shit out of some little white dots. Which I always thought was strange, because that kind of takes gameplay back to something that could have been done in consoles on the 80s, and yet apparently we need to buy these $1,000 PCs and several $100 consoles in order to play a game that deliberately makes itself look awful, which I've never been quite sure why that was a thing, and why you're trying to, as accurately as possible, recreate the horror of war as it is, envisaged in news footage. I've never been quite sure why that's an appealing thing, but it's done as a positive thing, kind of taking that and subverting it in, as you were talking about the white phosphorus section. I think, obviously, you're not in a plane, but it's a very similar thing. I like the way it subverts the perspective. I just really enjoy the way that it just kind of takes the existing genre of games and tears them apart. I wish more people played it. I wish more people did play it. I mean, what I admire about it was it wasn't marketed like that. It was very quietly marketed, and the box art and the title all suggest you're just getting another Call of Duty
game.
Yeah. And I think and that's why it was able to take people by surprise. I think that's why it had such a big impact on the people that did play it. My understanding is, though, it sold like pretty well, but not spectacularly. And I think kind of like that was like one of the huge points that just the other day I was like, when I was having a problem with Journey. And God, I shouldn't even talk about this because it's going to get people yelling at me again. Okay. I had the problem with Journey that it was marketed as like the massive game of the year, transcendental, 2012, awesome, and thus my expectations were set too high, and it was very difficult for any game to meet the expectations that the marketing had set for it. Whereas Spec Ops: The Line, by virtue of allowing itself to just look, even right down to its box art, as just another shooter, I think probably for people who went in getting that probably really got kicked in the teeth by it, and I love that it did that because that's a risk. Because it would have been so easy, and I'm not sure whether... Yeah, it probably came out in a time when it could have done that. If it had just kind of done the whole, this is alternative story playing, this is a storytelling experience, it probably could have got a lot of free press from the sort of... a lot of gaming websites that really like talking about alternate gaming experiences. But I think it didn't really pick up that cult status until a little bit down the line, because it kind of quietly snuck under the radar, because it did such a good job hiding its true intentions so that it could give a good story to the players who did play it. It probably actually missed a fair bit of free marketing it could have got from just jumping on the hype train of, you've got to play this because it's so different to anything you've played before. Whether that's good or not is questionable, because it probably could have got more sales than it did by virtue of just going down the hype train route. But I guess, it's quite noble that they probably went for a strategy that meant they sold less copies, but the copies they did sell were probably much more of the kick in the teeth for the people who bought it.
Because I had no idea that the game was like that. It was very narrative or choice-driven. I thought, again, it's just like your typical army man's game, and my perception of it was like it could have been similar to maybe Wolfenstein, maybe Bulletstorm, that kind of game. I had no idea, and then Matty was like, play the game, dude, it's actually really good. And I was taken back a lot as to the choices that I was essentially forced to make, and how they place such an emphasis on the ravages of war and why it's such a terrible thing, as opposed to just it being another shooter. In fact, I got tired of the shooting elements because I wanted to see what happened next, and I think that was the crux of it. It wasn't more so about the shooting elements. It was more so about the choices you had to make in the environment that you were in. And I really appreciated that. Like, you'll see me on stream thinking, oh, fuck, another shooting scene. I just want to know what happens next. And a game that can do that effectively, is always highly regarded in my books. And Spec Ops: The Line, man, if anyone here hasn't played it, please play it. What a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's, touching on what John said, it's interesting in the sense where it markets itself as just a basic shooter and everything. And then even in the first 3 hours... I'm not calling it a basic shooter, but it kind of is. You don't make any choices. They just kind of throw you into this.
Teaches you the basics.
Those beginning hours don't show you what the game truly is until that point with Gould, where you have to make that decision. And I think that part is really interesting in its own right, because it takes so long to get that first choice, where when you stick with it, you're rewarded. It's a really smart game.
It is. I really like the sand. I really like the sand.
Yeah.
And we're going to call attention to the sand because, like, a few people were like called out the sand. It's like, why is the sand there as a gimmick? It's a gimmick that doesn't, like, it's okay but it doesn't do anything. I love the sand because I think if you go into the game thinking it's just a normal shooter, you think, okay, this is a shooter and the gimmick in it is there's sand and I get to shoot things and sand falls down.
Yeah.
And you think you figured out the game because if you just went in and there was no sand, you'd think, well, okay, what's this? What's the interesting thing about this shooter? But because it's got the gimmick of the sand. And the shooting,
little mechanic kind of thing.
You think you figured it out. It's like if you were playing a shooter and you found a gravity gun, you'd think, okay, I figured this out now. This is going to be a game about me having a gravity gun and I'm in a shooter. Fine, I've got it. The fact that the sand is beautiful misdirection, and I love it. And I love the feeling you were describing about how you were kind of really bored and frustrated of killing people, because that kind of really evokes that lovely war is hell. You probably should feel a bit kind of frustrated and not wanting to kill people. I think it kind of partly represents the protagonist's own descent into madness and being a bit of an utter psychopath. The fact that at this point he's just charging through murdering people, just like, I don't even care about human life anymore. I just want to get on and get to the next bit of what I need to do. And I think games are wonderful when the player and the protagonist are going through the same mental headspace, which I think why the twists in BioShock always work so beautifully well.
Yes.
The player and you can't just, like, the protagonist can't just have... It's always a terrible twist in games where the protagonist just kind of... The villain shows up and says, but really you were secretly an amnesiac and you were my brother all along. Because the player is not the villain's brother. I can't relate to having a secret evil brother, unless I do actually have a secret evil brother and I just haven't, discovered him yet, but probably not. At that point, like, I can't relate to the player anymore because he's got a secret evil brother that has a massive airship with cannons or whatever. Whereas in BioShock, they always make sure that it's perfectly well balanced, that the brainwashing to follow orders is exactly the same as the player having been brainwashed to follow quest markers. And I love that there's the balance there. And that's why BioShock twists work and some game twists just don't. Because you've got to keep the player involved.
I like the gameplay in the sense, though, personally, because I this might just be me, but I think I said this last time we talked about the game. I love, like, the battle chatter, like the screaming over the mic and shit. Like, I think that's so... it's different, I don't know, like, you look at games like Call of Duty and stuff, it's not as authentic. It doesn't feel like that real.
It's very like, okay, yell now because explosion. You know what I mean?
But it's not like, oh, run, it's actually like, it feels like I don't want to say like I can speak from experience, thank God, but like I feel like I'm there, like I'm in that battle and it just engrosses me. It's a basic third-person shooter to its core. But it's the fact that it's like I'm like being screamed at, I'm getting call-outs, literal like accurate call-outs from my squad mates. Like communication, it brings like an element that's kind of different from other military shooters. That doesn't like set it apart. Like, this is a unique gameplay piece that makes Spec Ops: The Line absolutely wonderful. But it's like enough to hold my interest and like keep me like really like focused. Where I'm like, people are yelling at me right now. I'm there. Like,
but also as well, that was interesting in the sense that if you just, made the worst possible choices, your squadron would start to say shit against you. Like, for example, if you got to that point in the game where you've done bad crap, and then you're like, all right, kill that guy. He kills him. He's like, oh, he's dead now. You happy? Or I killed him. And like, they're being antagonizing towards you because they don't agree with the choices you've made. And that hit me, and it took me a couple steps back. And I'm thinking, he's helping me, he's supporting me now, but he's not happy about it. He's not happy with me right now because what we've done in the past. And that's the really interesting thing about the game. It just keeps kicking you down. And even like when you execute, the execute mechanics get more gruesome as the game progresses. Just small things like that I really loved. What a
you're
fantastic
right. I didn't
game.
even notice that over time it gets worse. Like, you'll start off like you'll just put your hand on their chest, punch them in the face, they're dead. Then you'll start like dropping the knee on them. Then you'll start stomping their face in. Then you'll start hitting them with your gun. Like, it gets worse.
And then you'll start shooting them in the fucking head and like twisting their neck with the gun, like in the fucking gas mask. Yeah. That shit, that was brutal, man. Oh, holy crap!
Great game. Holy shit! Yeah. I gotta play that some more.
Fantastic. It's a great one. Although I admit when I played it, I did always it always slightly annoyed me. The bit where they start talking back to you to some degree. While I like that thematically, I also just kind of kept asking myself, this is the worst military ever. For God's sakes, guys, you're in the military. You follow cocking orders. You do not flipping talk back to your commanding officer.
That's a fair point.
That is a fair point.
Fall the F in line, you bastards.
True.
Yeah, that's true. And then quickly, gaming news bit. Guillermo del Toro has decided to never work in a video game again because the last 2 video games he worked on, everything just
apart.
went to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
so
blame
like
him.
THQ and then Konami. So, yeah.
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
But he also picks his partners poorly. Both those companies are shit. THQ
Well,
used to be
he
awesome.
picked Kojima, and then Kojima was just, happened to be with Konami, and that was shit.
The only good thing from Konami was when I was a kid, Ninja Turtle games, and then they were shit. Metal Gear Solid is the only other good thing that you see Konami on.
Yeah.
I
Well,
could-
even did you hear about the news?
What else do they even do? Hold on. Other than Silent Hills, which they haven't done for ages, aside from a dungeon crawler Vita game, which you know me, the Vita advocate even thinks is shit. Okay? Other than that, like, what else does this company do? Like, that's what bothers me, that he's, like, dropping out. I'm like, you just picked the wrong partners, dude. Like, these are not good people to work with.
Up to about 2002, they made International Superstar Soccer, which was vastly better than FIFA. I don't know if they kept making... I think they stopped making those for no well-explained reason, because they were better than everyone else. Like, the SNES and N64 versions were really good next to FIFA.
Wait, hold on. I'm having a brain blast now. Pez. Don't they make Pez?
What's PES?
No.
Pro Evolution Soccer.
Pro
it's
Evolution.
the competitor.
I'm
Oh,
surprised
is
you don't
that
know
what
that.
International Superstar Soccer became?
Okay, you know what? I'll take back what I said, because they do pump out, like, Pez is actually popular for people who don't like FIFA, which is kind of weird.
Is
But
dumb. It's
it's
a weird
weird.
game though. The physics in Pez are a and little bit different, like slightly.
It's
and you can
interesting
feel
though
it.
that
it has a following
Pez-
now.
PES is very
It does.
popular in Europe in particular. And I was taken back by that. I thought FIFA was just dominant everywhere, but no, PES actually it's a bit more popular in some countries than some
Yeah.
regions.
So I'll take back what I said about Konami. They do
Oh,
put
but
out
no, but
a
no.
lot of
To be
games,
fair,
but-
though, Konami they've decided to swap a lot to mobile games. I know that, and they've done it purely for like the profit. The CEO or the whoever it was that came into the company, admittedly, openly said, "I'm not a video gamer. I don't understand video games. I just know profit." And we decided to make mobile games because that's where the profit is. That return on investment is much
them.
higher for video games on the mobile. And I'm thinking, you hired a CEO who openly said he wasn't a gamer. It's like if you're running a health organization, you don't run someone that doesn't have a health fucking background or a health degree.
You hire the
It's same
CEO
thing.
of McDonald's. Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it made no sense, and they've just gone down this route, and now fucking Kojima Productions or whatever their name was, they're now called Number 8 Production Studio. They don't have access to the internet. They're time stamped, and the camera surveils them, fucking monitors them
It's
every
literally
day,
a Nazi
and not
camp.
for. It's becoming terrible. And I'm thinking, no wonder why Kojima wanted to get out. And do you know what also happens? They change their emails periodically every 3 months so that they can't get poached from other game companies, so they can't contact them. How
That is
fucked up is that?
ridiculous.
I honestly, I've been saying this since Metal Gear Solid 5 got announced. Like, he's probably not burnt out on Metal Gear because he always takes like a unique standpoint and just does his thing with it. Kojima's a genius. But I've always said he's gonna be the next guy who's like the big developer who says, "Fuck this company, I'm leaving, I'm doing Kickstarter," and he will get the hell supported out of
That
him.
would be pretty insane. I do have to stop you guys real quick though. I have to get ready for work now.
I knew it!
I didn't know it would go this long. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's out of my control, and I'm gonna hear it from Twitter. I'm not going to work at the watch shop for the love of God. I'm going to Vans. But I know. I'm sorry. I suck. I'm awful.
It's okay,
I'll
no.
hear it all. Just fucking don't. Yeah. Anyways,
Oh,
guys.
you'll hear about it. You'll hear about
I know.
it.
Please, yeah. But guys, it was fun talking to you again. John, it was very awesome to have you on.
Excellent.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Peace. Oh,
So-
God,
so
he's
John-
just digging his grave now. He's digging his grave now.
John, if you don't know this, it's become like a running gag how
Yes.
Noah always leaves the podcast early because he has something on. It's pretty funny. We just give him shit about it all the time.
Anyways.
I'm sure he doesn't want to go to work.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm sure he
one does.
doesn't. But yeah, so Konami, very interesting, situation, but hopefully it resolves itself. But
One thing I
anyways,
actually saw on Konami, which I thought was very, very interesting, was I saw a couple of people kind of writing that obviously there's all this news that's come out about Konami having kind of the terrible working environments.
Yes.
But my understanding is actually in Japanese corporates, that's not actually, or stuff like that is not as unusual as I think people are assuming because they're comparing it to, say, European or American working environments.
But I
it's
think
not
it's been
as
compared,
unusual.
I think it's being compared to other areas of Konami. Like, I think Number 8 Production Studio is being specifically, shit on because they're from Kojima. I think that's the reason why. And I'm not too sure because I'm completely spitballing here, but I think the reason why it's such a big thing is because Konami is giving them really shit treatment in comparison to other areas of the studio. And if that's true, that's completely terrible. And it's just, yeah, in Japanese culture, if it's hardworking and you don't have access to the internet, if that's just the thing compared to Western culture, yeah, fair enough. But if it's a differential treatment within the same studio because of bad blood between Kojima, I think that's where the controversy came into it. So I'm not too sure, but I would like to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to kind of hear comparable reports about working conditions within other similar sized studios in Japan to actually get a point of reference. I think a lot of people have kind of flown off the handle and said this is disgraceful, that's disgraceful. I think there's an element of cultural. There's an element of culture here, and my understanding is big Japanese corporates are somewhat paternalistic, and people expect a lot of loyalty and people not to be poached and people to be, loyal heart and soul to the company and be salarymen at one company for their entire careers and so forth. That's kind of expected, and And I would just be really interested to see a comparative piece and like the same organization that did this discussion about Konami looking at other studios and if that can be done. Because I haven't seen like a very convincing actual parallel piece laying out studios against each other. I suspect it's a little bit more nuanced than what we're thinking.
Yeah, that is a good point. Maddie, have you gone?
I have not. So for starters, what I'm playing this week, I just started a new and my first actual okay, I'm gonna beat it this time, and try to put a lot of time into a playthrough of Diablo 3. I've always, since I was a kid, been a fan of the overhead RPG kind of beat 'em up where you just keep getting new loot and upgrading your character. I'm talking about games like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, Champions of Arms, those type of games that came from Sony Online Entertainment and whatnot that were just they were just honestly diamonds in the rough in my opinion. They were so fun, so unique in my opinion. I always liked them. And so Diablo 3 is I play it, I love it because of nostalgia, but I also wonder why this is the one that stands out. Like when you look at games I think Torchlight 2 is the other one. I had that on my PC and I played it and I'm like, this is exactly what Diablo is. But I also noticed that Diablo 3's always got some type of hook in it, and it's not just about the loot. There's always you go inside a side area, and while you're going through there, you're gonna get all the bonus loot and stuff. But there'll be these bonus shrines that you can use to get bonus stats and whatnot to really keep you engaged the whole way through. There's always this little thing going on in the background that's kind of running that'll keep you going and make you want to keep playing. Not in the sense where it's a quest or whatever or a piece of loot, because the game knows that you're going to get that stuff at some point or another. It's the little things that happen underneath it all. Like the character managing system where you have a skill, then you have a passive skill that will connect to that skill, and then it's not just you have one triangle attack and you pick from that. You can pick from a bunch of triangle attacks, and then all those triangle attacks have another set of skills under them that you can change to make a dynamic character that can change in any which way and form and just fit your play style. So it's that as well. So it's a really fun game. I'm playing it by myself and I'm still enjoying it. And it's a game that you're supposed to really play with at least a group of people. But I'm curious to keep going on and seeing what's so addicting of when you finish the game. Let me start a new playthrough on a harder difficulty with an increased loot drop, kind of like Borderlands in the sense. I really want to get to that point and keep putting time into it and just really having fun. And by the way, for those wondering who are listening, and you guys as well, I got the Reaper of Souls edition, I believe. It's the latest edition that has all the DLC, all that stuff. So, yeah.
I've always wanted to get into Diablo. It just seems like such an interesting game. One that I would enjoy with friends, as you said. I don't know why I haven't been able to get into it, because I enjoyed a game like Borderlands, and essentially it's a top-down version of Borderlands. Or I should say Borderlands is a version of Diablo because it came out after. But nevertheless, I think it would be interesting to play with a bunch of friends. So hopefully I can do that, but Fallout 4 is coming out soon.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of cramming in games that I haven't played. That's why I've been cramming in the old school Fallout games, because I'm all right, I just want to play them, get them out of the way before Fallout 4 comes out. I've played just because I know once Fallout 4 comes out, Battlefront comes out, I know I'm not gonna want to play anything else, and that's why I'm getting all these older games I missed out of the way, trying new things, just kind of getting like literally free with it. Like where the point where I see a game that remotely interests me, I'm like, I've never played this before. I'm probably not going to play it after Fallout 4. I'm going to play it now. And that's what I've been doing. And it's actually an interesting kind of freedom that I've been enjoying. I don't know, but Diablo 3 has been what I've been playing this week. As for my piece of news, as we all know here, I'm a esteemed Battlefront fan. I love Star Wars Battlefront. And I'm one of the Battlefront fans who was totally cool with it not having a single-player campaign. Completely fine with it. Not because like I'm willing to accept there being less in the product, but mainly because Battlefront, I played for the instant action, the galactic conquest, the multiplayer. That's what I played Battlefront for. But then this comment came from CEO of EA, Peter Moore, and it got me kind of peeved. So he says that Battlefront won't have a single-player campaign because according to stats, basically, not many people play them. And this is really just, it bothered me because it's like, well, then you just, basically, you're trying to blame us for not playing it, but it's because you don't put a worthwhile campaign in your games like Battlefield, where no one does want to play them, and when they do play them, they regret it because it's not that good. I'm not saying that they're awful campaigns, but it's like they're putting the blame on the players, and now people are going to accept that and be like, oh yeah, well, according to stats, I guess not a lot of people play it. Oh, it's just basic numbers, but it's really them just putting the blame on the player and saying that this is why, you guys don't play it. We'd make it if you want it, and it's like, well, we do want it. We want it there if it's going to be good. It's got to be worth our time, though. And it just all comes down to this. People don't seem to realize this. This has to match up with Episode 7 in the sense where there's going to be time constraints. I've been working on this since about 2013. It's a, honestly, it's a quick development cycle. I hate to say it. I wish this game had more time. But for what I've seen, what they're doing with the game and stuff, I'm excited about it. But I feel like this is just a comment that Peter Moore shouldn't have made. I have no problem with them commenting on it and giving their reasons, but with it being so close to launch, I feel like he's just kind of swirled up a shitstorm, honestly, by just saying that. A lot of people have really gotten upset with that.
Maybe that was his intention to draw up controversy for the game so it gets publicity.
But like when your Star Wars title, Battlefront's one of like the most anticipated sequels or reboots, I guess you can say at this point. And you're launching next to Episode 7, which is also looking absolutely incredible. So I'm just wondering, I don't know if he was going for controversy. I think he was just not thinking.
Yeah, fair enough. So I haven't played the game, so I don't really have an opinion either way. I know. John, have you played the game?
Well, the original Battlefront.
Yes.
I tried it. I didn't get super into it. I don't know. It maybe just wasn't quite my thing. I am going to play Battlefront when it comes out, the new one. I'm going to play. Actually, there's loads of stuff I want to do in the final quarter of this year. Because I'm also a huge fan of the Hitman franchise. So
I need to get into that. Yeah.
I'm so into that. So literally, I'm going to it's not going to be solid Fallout 4 when Hitman lands. Hitman is going to get plenty of attention during that period.
So I have Hitman games in my Steam library. I think I have. What's it called?
Absolution is
no, delete it.
What?
Whoa! We got different opinions.
No, what the hell?
Whoa. Ding, ding, ding.
What the hell?
No, Absolution is a mess. The story is a mess. The gameplay is a mess. The levels are linear. About 2/3 of the levels, you don't cocking kill anyone in a game called Hitman. You're just going through a linear area to get to an area where you might be allowed to
I'll give you the benefit of the
someone.
doubt just because I honestly haven't played this game since it launched. So I understand where you're coming from in the sense where that, but some of the levels were so cool in Hitman, like the one where
one of the levels in Hitman Absolution was a decontamination lab. Another one was a mill. Another one was
about the one with the stoner lab.
It's like they were trying to come up with boring levels.
You really didn't like it that much. I thought that was a great game.
It is.
A decontamination lab. Shall we also go to the second-hand milk factory? For God's sakes, Matty, it was dreadful.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I feel so bad now. Okay, so you didn't even like the way you killed your targets. Did you at least think that was cool?
The way you killed your targets?
Yeah, you could I won't spoil it for those who probably at this point aren't convinced to play it, but for those who still want to try it. But there's that one guy you could kill in that old kind of town where you could connect the generator and hook up an electricity fence, and he'll just casually walk through it and just electrocute himself to death and die. There were so many ways to kill your targets. Did you at least like that? Out of curiosity, or
I felt like Absolution, there were lots where it kind of felt like rather than it was a big playground where you got to like play around and find things, it felt more like the developers just put in like 4 or 5 preset ways where things would just happen. And I felt like much less attention. Like the best bits about Blood Money were not like using what the developers set up for you. It was finding like the amazing spots where you could take sniper shots and where you could do kind of amazing throws and stuff like that, where you could just find your own ways through. I just felt like Absolution, even when it was letting you kill someone, which was somewhere between a half and a third of the levels, was even then it just felt like there were areas where it didn't give you much freedom. And then, of course, when you actually came up with the bosses of the game, all like the main named characters who you were trying to kill, bafflingly, very often they didn't even let you have any freedom. Like, what's her name? The woman who's the big bad guy's sort of wife, but not wife, the floozy, whatever her name is. Where she goes to the bedroom and you have to go into the bedroom to confront her, like Casey, something, I don't know. It's like what the penultimate level of the game, and like she's hiding in the bedroom and you have to go in, there's a cutscene, and she kind of, is trying to draw a gun on you and you have to go into slow-mo and shoot her because you don't have any choice but to do that. And that happens and at the end of the what is it, the orphanage, the nun place, the nunnery, that's probably it, where you walk around the corner and all the guys jump out at you in the ambush and you have to shoot all of them one by one. And the bloody ridiculous one where the massive Mexican, which was just ridiculous, by the way, the massive Mexican guy, where you have to kill him in the wrestling ring, 47, disguised as a wrestler with a mask on, in front of a crowd of people, pulls the mask off so that the massive Mexican knows who he is. This is a silent assassin! A hitman! A man who murders people for a living in front of a crowd of people looking at him with cameras reveals his face while killing someone on camera!
The passion.
It was the worst. It was... Aside from Advance Wars Days of Ruin, it's the most disappointing game I've ever played.
Really?
I'm viscerally angry that they could take Blood Money and make Absolution out of it. I am genuinely
so I played
angry.
Blood Money first and then Absolution.
No,
or
don't
do I
play
go
Absolution at all. You're aware the devs have actually apologised for Absolution, right? They've said sorry.
Really? I thought I got good reviews. That's why I picked it up. I remember...
when they've been talking about
I should mention this.
They've openly said, we kind of fucked up in Absolution. We're going to make it more like Blood Money was because people didn't like Absolution. They've admitted that the fans wanted it to go back to how Blood Money was because Absolution wasn't as good. The devs have openly said this, and very rarely when a developer admit they kind of fucked up when they made the next game in a franchise, and IO Interactive have done that. They've openly said we kind of want to remove some of the stuff that was in Absolution and go back to how it was before because people liked it better.
See, but I thought the level where you were in I think it was like a Chinatown or something.
Chinatown, yeah, really early in the game, yeah.
Yeah, like I liked that level, because there was like I think 8 or 9 ways to kill the guy. I mean, this is also, by the way, I should have mentioned this is coming from someone that's the only Hitman game I played. That might be why I liked Absolution, because I have not touched Blood Money. I probably should, but like I've never just gotten around to it. Maybe that'll be the next game I play after Diablo.
Blood Money, Hitman 2 is pretty damn good. Contracts has okay levels, but has some really bad ones. Don't bother with the first one because all the good bits of it were remade in Contracts.
But I like Chinatown because there was like you could I think you could poison the fish and somehow find a way to get him to eat it. You could obviously do the simple way of like shooting him. I think you could set him up in like his bedroom and do something in there as well. Like there was a bunch of ways to do it. I thought like also the level where like you had to kill 3 targets and like one of them was a mechanic. Like you could like set the gas on the stove on, and then like when he walked by, I just like shoot it and it would just blow up and destroy him, and I just walk out like, oh, it was just an accident. Like that type of silent escape. Like I said, only played Absolution.
There are 2 or 3 missions in it that are kind of good.
Those are the ones I fondly remember, though. Everything else, I gotta say, like I don't really. It's a haze.
Also, do you remember like the first mission where you're tasked with killing Diana, and you decide to walk in on her in the bathroom.
Yeah. Then
you shoot her. Then you decide that you want to go over and talk to her, and based on what you say, you decide you're going to adopt a small child.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe that 47 could have spoken to her before shooting her?
Yeah.
That could have been a more sensible
the story, like I don't even remember a fucking
bit
ounce
late
of it.
there, 47.
Yeah, I don't remember an ounce of it. So Lone.
I mean, this is a man who decided that he would accept orders to go and kill his own handler and only friend, the woman who saved his life in blood money, for money, and then decides after shooting her he's going to take her adopted daughter and keep her safe in a nunnery.
God. As a longtime fan, I can see why you're pissed.
I have problems with Absolution. I've never made a video of it, and I should just make a video of it, just slowly taking it apart, piece by rancid, horrendous piece.
Is that going to be a similar situation? What happened with Journey? I don't know what happened with you with Journey.
No, defend Absolution. There is no defense for Absolution. People who were angry about Journey said that I was too harsh on it, and they really liked Journey. But that won't happen with Absolution because nobody liked Absolution. Anyone who liked Absolution was wrong.
I was wrong.
Matty, you're wrong.
I enjoyed it. It was a good game, man.
That's excellent. I love it.
Oh, do you remember the end of the Absolution? When the little girl...
Here's the funny story. Here's a funny story, though, about the ending of Absolution.
You haven't played the whole thing yet?
Well, here's the thing. I was at the end, and then my game file corrupted, and I lost all my saves, so I said, fuck this game. I think I was about, 80% through, so I actually never got a chance to even beat it. And
all the more reason to hate the game, right?
Let me just say then, a character who has never previously shown any sign of having superpowers mysteriously develops superpowers during one cutscene, uses it on people who she has no reason to use it on, and then stops and forgets she has superpowers just before using it on anyone it would have been useful to use them on. And then it's never brought up again.
Fucking Tomb Raider. There's one part where I won't spoil anything, but someone gets superpowers, and it's such a believable world. Until that point, I'm like, really? This is supernatural? This issue that's going on this island couldn't have been something more authentic? I fucking hate when games throw in supernatural bullshit into a realistic experience. Says the man who loves a game that involves
I'm just trying to think if there are any more levels that I hated about Absolution. There are other levels I hated too. I don't think any much quite as viscerally. I mean, lots of them were just boring. The hotel at the beginning of the game was just a bit dull.
That was so fucking rage-inducing now that you mention it. Oh.
You know why you had to go into the basement to get in the elevator? Because that's the only way to get up. But everyone constantly sees you. And if you want to call the elevator, you have to call it, then just stand next to it for 10 seconds.
Yeah. God, dude.
What the hell was that about?
Worst level. I'll agree with that. That level was bad.
Okay, good. We're making progress. We're making progress. Solution.
It's like John's mission to make sure everybody hates Absolution.
Everybody should hate Absolution.
Well, I can see why you're doing that. You spread the word that it's not a good game, and this is how it should be, and you show blood money. So, I'll take your word for it.
That's a good point.
What were we getting on about that? How did the Hitman?
I don't. Oh no, that's right.
I said I was looking forward to Hitman in December, the new one, because they've openly said it's going to be more like blood money.
That's good. And your favorite gaming news bit, John? You have anything that drew your attention in the past couple of weeks?
I'm just really, really loving that Twitch Plays is still a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, a year and a half after that started with Pokemon, they've now flipping moved on to Dark Souls. And I don't understand how they're doing it. My understanding is several days on, they're still stuck in the starting area and can't get out of it. And I don't know what sort of utterly mad, deranged people are actually doing this. But I absolutely love that it exists.
Twitch plays Pokemon. Holy crap. I love that. Everyone was on board. I had friends on board. We were all in the chat chatting. And I can't believe, I don't know, did you guys ever participate in that? Did you watch it or anything?
I didn't participate, but I participated in the wider fandom around it. Because, I judge how good something is by the quality of the community and the mythos that grows around it. And Twitch Plays Pokemon spawned huge amounts of lore and stories and people retroactively desperately coming up with these huge complicated narratives and fan art to support them, to support decisions that were made. Basically, they were watching a random number generator and creating an epic story out of it.
I mean, you had Flareon was the devil, or I can't remember specifically, and then you had the god.
Flareon was the devil, but then lots of people. But then eventually, people decided they'd been overly harsh on Flareon, so people made loads of fan art of all the other fire types that had been in the game, like Charmeleon, kind of calling Flareon over, and they all got to sit around the fire together and be friends because people decided they'd been too harsh on Flareon all along. I loved the huge amount of stuff that it just generated.
It was just great to see how everyone just kind of had this collective nerdgasm and nostalgia feeling and just combined together. Everyone our age roughly that played Pokemon as a kid everyone just hopped on board. Even that if you hadn't played Pokemon for several years, everyone got into it. And I remember I was there when they catch Zapdos and thinking, holy shit, how did we manage to save to save this ball and not kill Zapdos and fucking catch a legendary bird with a random number generator and people just inputting commands. The fact that
you could run from legendaries and they just disappear.
You could. And the fact that we didn't run, like sometimes we struggle to fucking get over a ledge, let alone catch a legendary bird, and somehow it happened. It was fucking amazing.
I just loved, like, you would go to, like, you know, Kotaku or GameSpot, and, like, the most read story on their top bar would be Twitch Plays Pokemon has reached Route 14. And everyone would panic because they knew that was a route with ledgers on it.
Yeah.
that was the center of gaming culture for 3 days. The fact that a random number generator effectively was trying to get around a ledge.
Absolutely.
You can't make that up. And I love the fact they're now even trying to do it with even more, a game that's so difficult that, like, people who are actually trying to play it properly very often can't beat it.
It's such a lost cause from the start because people who are attentively hardcore into Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, whatever, struggle.
Yep.
How can a random number generator even possibly think? It's all luck. It's gotta be all luck.
That's the thing. Like, the reason why Twitch Plays Pokemon worked is because
it's
everyone
like tile
knew,
by tile.
Well, everyone knew how to play Pokemon. So, like, the commands that were being inputted, they all, like, generally they made sense. Like, everyone knew the next step. You got to go to this gym, that gym, blah, blah, blah. With Dark Souls, it's not like that at all. It's a completely different game. Yeah. So to think that people trying to input commands, how that's even going to work when, as you guys said, the most experienced players will still die to this day a lot in a Dark Souls game, it's not going to work.
I don't know if they've made it to the first bonfire yet. My understanding was they once came close, but I'm not sure if they actually did.
I'm seeing that they're going to keep dying and they're not going to reach checkpoints quick enough, and it's going to be the most frustrating thing. So if they do finish it, which I don't think will happen, it will take months upon months. Definitely not as quick as Pokemon.
The thing is, there was a lovely element of normalization to it, which this was lovely. Like, and I think this happened. We saw it in the original Pokemon game when they got to the rocket base underneath the game corner. When they were in the maze. Actually, having been doing it for about 5 days and not being able to get past the maze, the numbers started to drop. And as the numbers dropped, it became easier to control, so more progress could be made. And then once they'd made it past that area, there was such fanfare that effectively a random number generator managed to do it after 5 days that people piled in again. So it's self-normalized, because as people wandered off, it became easier. And then once they passed it, people piled back in again. And I love the fact that you were able to kind of witness that happening.
Yeah, I thought the mechanic with the democracy and the chaos modes, that was really cool.
Versus chaos.
Because when those moments happened, everyone was like, that wanted to progress, fucking let it be democracy. And chaos was most usually the most popular choice. But it became this weird thing where there was collective agreement. If there was one part that we were genuinely stuck on, we would go to democracy rather. But other than that, it had to be chaos. Otherwise, it just didn't make sense. It defeated the purpose of the Twitch Plays Pokemon. It was meant to be, inputting commands into the chat. Nothing that, it was meant to be hard. But only in those points, like with the ledges or with other things, that people just got sick of it and thought, all right, we need to go to democracy. It was a last, ditch attempt using democracy. But other than that, they were happy with chaos. People were fucking eating that shit up, and I just enjoyed watching it, and I got into it as well. It was great.
I loved it. I just kind of I never actually entered commands, but I just kind of nosed in on it. Like every evening, I just check how it was getting on, just have it on in the background for a little bit. And I love how it's left its marks on the internet. Like people now know about Helix. Helix is a thing that has just become a bit of an that's become part of the architecture of the internet. People know about Lord Helix. That is just one of those things that now is just in the infrastructure. People will remember that. And it's lovely. And I'm so glad that Twitch Plays Pokemon or rather Twitch Plays anything is still a thing. I'm so thrilled. I mean, I think they've picked a baffling game, but I long may it continue. Long may it continue. I truly hope that they just keep doing different games over and over and people pile into their favourite games when they come up.
Because, like, the guy that's organising it, he's actually an Australian. So that's the bit I liked about it. I was like, yeah, fucking Aussie, Australia. But yeah, no, I'm going to probably tune into that Dark Souls playthrough and see how they go, because it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's amazing, and I don't know what they're gonna do, but I just hope they just keep doing it with different games. It's just
definitely.
amazing to watch.
Definitely. Excellent.
They should
Maddie?
They should pick. In my opinion, the fun of it is actually being able to have a chance at completing it. If you ask me, they should just fucking start over with a new game because they're not going to do Dark Souls.
Then they're not going to do that. But it's going to be interesting. I reckon if they get the democracy system right or whatever they're using this time, I think they could progress. But
They can't use democracy in Dark Souls because you can't hold still for 5 seconds waiting
Exactly
for a
right,
command. You'll be
exactly right.
stamped on.
You gotta do like old school games or linear games where you can't just wander off wherever. Like Dark Souls is full of cliffs and ledges that are designed to have like the idiot players just walk off and die. Like, it's gonna be awful. But I could pitch a few suggestions. That would be like Ninja Gaiden. Like that's a hard enough game, but like one that you could beat.
I'd go for one of the Fire Emblems.
Yeah.
That's a
Fire
good
Emblem
choice.
would be great because then you've got all the characters are permadeath. Everyone once you die,
God.
because all the characters it's permadeath, but
Never
it is
ending.
still turn-based.
Never ending.
that's interesting. Fuck yeah.
I think
Anyway.
turn-based permadeath would be brilliant for Twitch players, and I really hope they do a Fire Emblem. I think something like Path of Radiance could be excellent.
After this podcast,
That is Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper would be cool. That'd be interesting because there's stealth segments. And like I'm thinking like Sly Cooper has a lot of like concise areas. Like I'm just thinking like of like this is hard enough, but this is possible. Because Sly Cooper is also like a platformer, so that would be interesting.
I think a good game would be Legend of Zelda because of the puzzles. That would be like, it's not going to be too hard that it's just impossible like Dark Souls, but the puzzle aspect of Legend of Zelda is going to require some thinking as opposed to trying to get over a ledge in Pokemon.
Were you thinking of 2D or 3D?
Oh, let's try 2D. Like let's try the
Link
original
to the
Zelda
Past.
and-
Yeah, do Link to the
and we'll
Past.
Yeah, start with something like Link to the Past and work from there.
I reckon though Ocarina of Time would be awesome to do it because I love it and it's this nostalgia reason. But they should totally try that game. It would be awesome.
They gotta do
Anyway.
older games also, not to stretch this on any longer, but they gotta do older games so that there's that like background of knowledge, so that people going in there like they know how to beat the game.
I agree.
Where like
That's
Dark,
true. They've
like
got to
you
go
said,
for the nostalgia bait one.
Yeah.
They've got to go for the ones that everyone loved and played. Yeah.
because with like Dark Souls, it's such a niche game, kind of not really niche, but like it's like a small. There's a community for it, and like a lot of people are just diehards for it. But like I doubt those diehards are sitting in a Twitch chat trying to beat it on a Twitch stream. With
Oh, I'm
keyboard
watching it
commands.
right now, actually, and it's just that he's walking into a wall, and I'm thinking, how the fuck are you gonna beat monsters if you're just constantly walking into a wall?
Because you need
It's-
to
and
lock
it-
on, you need to dodge roll. Like the enemies have fucking tactics. It's impossible. It was just
That's so funny.
impossible.
It's just somersaulting around it. Anyway, keep going.
Next segment, our final segment, the fan questions. You can submit yours on Twitter with the hashtag H.A.M Radio Time. Go on Sugar Bombs, either or works. The first question comes from Bruvy, and he asks, if you had to destroy a company to get a copy of Fallout 4, which one would it be?
You had to destroy a company.
Yeah, you had to destroy. I don't know why this is the ramifications.
As in like a
of this
game developer
question.
or
Well,
company
okay. So just
Any
pick
company.
Find a really small company that's on financial trouble and is about to go under anyway, and let's do that one. That way,
Yep.
there's been no harm done, and we get Fallout 4. Next.
Okay, no,
see, you're
here's
gonna be
the
smart
thing,
about
alright,
it, but me, I look at Activision. I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm gonna destroy you and get my copy of Fallout 4. That's what I.
What about if it was like 4 years ago when we all wanted the game? If there was the choice to have Bethesda never make a game again, but we got Fallout 4 then and there, or wait until the game could be released? What do you reckon?
Yes. Difficult. But then equally, if Bethesda went missing, would that mean that potentially the license could just permanently go to Obsidian? Because I like Obsidian's Fallouts more.
That's true.
That's true. It is a lot of people like it's this weird battle on the internet, Fallout 3 versus New Vegas. But I think they both have their place. Like Obsidian Fallout games, they tried to stay true to the original Fallouts, which was
Definitely.
a lot of fan service. But now Bethesda is like, well, we should kind of try and do that, which is what they've done in Fallout 4, at least it seems anyway. So I'm thinking that Bethesda is taking a lot of cues from Obsidian. So Obsidian definitely played its part, and I would love to see them make another game because I'm not waiting another fucking 10 years for a Fallout 5.
I'm
With
gonna
the-
be honest,
with
like,
the
I'm
proper
almost-
development time too, please.
I'm
Please.
almost more excited. I'm almost more excited by more than Fallout 4 like the prospect that maybe shortly after Fallout 4 comes out, it's revealed that they franchised out the engine to Obsidian to make the next West Coast
But
in
Chris
2 years'
Avallone
time.
left Obsidian.
I would be more excited by that
did he?
than by Fallout 4.
Yeah, Chris Avallone left Obsidian, so like he plays a huge part. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying like the games would probably be a little bit different in that respect because he's been around since the originals. So
and plus it is interesting because with Fallout 3, New Vegas came out very, very soon after, and because of that, the mod community shifted to New Vegas to the stage where I don't think Fallout 3 had a long enough run in the mod community. Like, there are mods still being made, and it was still thriving, but you can't lie that the focus of every mod maker and every player kind of shift to New Vegas more so.
Yeah.
So I would like to see Fallout 4 have a bit of a longer run, like 3 years, 4 years maybe, until we got another Fallout game. But I just thought New Vegas came out a bit too soon after Fallout 3, especially because they had no fucking development time. They had, what was it, 2 years maybe?
Yeah,
if that.
Less
barely.
than
I
that,
think a year and a half.
Yeah,
There you
about
go,
18
yeah.
months. They could have done with a little bit more time for bug fixing, certainly.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. It's to this day, my New Vegas game on my Xbox, the loading screens are up to 2 minutes. It's that bad.
Jeez.
Really?
I don't even
Yeah.
know
I
what
do
that.
I don't get that. I mean, honestly,
I
these
got
days,
that.
I mean, I play the Ultimate Edition of New Vegas, and I think now it's more stable than Fallout 3 is.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's slightly lower loading, but I think I get way less crashes. I get way more crashes on Fallout 3 than New Vegas now that I've gone to like the final patched edition of both on console.
Okay, interesting.
As for wow, what the hell was I even about to say there? I didn't know if I should move on to the next question or pitch my opinion there, but I guess we'll just go on to the next question. Next one comes from this one will be a little more like, you know what, you're gonna have to think about it. It's from now on, John.
Okay.
You say this. You say this.
You say this, but you outwit me and make me look stupid. Dark Guitarist asks, if you had the chance to, this one really isn't a thinker actually. If you had a chance to work at Bethesda, what game series would you work on and what would you do? So, from the terms of this question, I don't know if he's asking specifically, because he says Bethesda, not Bethesda Game Studio. So you can pick any of Bethesda's, I guess, titles under their entire Bethesda name, as in published as well. Also, he doesn't specify that it has to be a Bethesda series, so you could combine Bethesda with another game that you feel like would be a good match.
Hang on, I just need to look up the Bethesda wiki just so I've got a full list of all their properties in front of me just before I give an answer that I'll regret.
I'm not too sure because, like, for me, I enjoy Fallout as a fan, and I'm not sure how that's going to change if I was involved in the development. So I would want to say maybe a different game other than Fallout.
That's what I was thinking
Because,
as well.
yeah, I didn't want to kind of ruin it for myself because I like to play every Fallout game like a fan, and if I was involved in the development and knew everything about the game, then I don't think I'd be able to enjoy it as much once it's released. I don't know, but I can't say that because I can't talk from experience, but yeah, maybe Dishonored. I don't know.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Dishonored, because Dishonored I think is possibly like the Bethesda game which the gap between how much I think I want to like it and how much I actually like it is probably the largest, which is I like it quite a lot, but I feel like I should have liked it much more than I did.
Yeah,
and I wish it was like a bit more big and open world and less. I don't know. There's a lot I like. There's a lot I didn't like, and I just feel like it's one of those games I'm very divided on, and I love lots of it, and I don't like some of it.
Dishonored was a bit linear. Like I would have loved a bit more. I would have loved a bit more freedom. Like it seemed like you were going from mission to mission and point to point. In my opinion, anyways. But
I agree, and I actually think there was an element to which some of the trailers and the marketing was a bit dishonest, quite frankly, for Dishonored, because I think there was a lot of kind of
dishonest.
There was a lot of footage in like the trailers that suggested you'd be tracking someone's carriage and charging over the rooftops and then jumping straight through their roof and going through 3 people and breaking into their bedroom and then killing them, when Dishonored didn't play like that at all. There was no tracking. You couldn't really just kind of charge over the rooftops for the most part because there were a lot of invisible walls and just literally physical walls in the way. There were loading times between major interiors and exteriors a lot of the time. I don't know. It felt like the game that I assumed it was going to be from their marketing was the game I wanted more than the game I actually got.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It just popped into my head as we were talking about Dishonored. I would love to work. Oh, there's a fire alarm in my house. I would love to work on Rage. That would be a cool game. I would love to see Rage become a different beast than what it is, because that was definitely an underrated game, and I think it becomes so much more open world, more choice, more freedom in that game. Definitely.
Yeah, that was my choice. I was thinking Rage as well, dude. Like, because as like a fan of the series, I'd love to be like the guy who like gets behind him and like tries to pitch all these new ideas and stuff for it, and make it into something that people can talk about. Because you kind of already have like Doom seems to have evolved properly for the new generation of gamers. Wolfenstein seems to have done it, so it's like they're kind of there. Fallout seems to adapt to a lot of different types of players. Where I feel like bringing Rage back in a unique way would be fun, like a good challenge.
Yeah,
it would mark the difference between also just being a fan of the series, but not too big of a fan where it would impact my work. So I'd probably stick with Rage, because I love I was gonna say Dishonored, but I love Dishonored personally. I've said that a bunch of times, so I feel like
it's a great game. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's a really good game. I just wish it was a great game, in my opinion, and I think it's just a good game.
I feel like Dishonored 2. Because you guys are, based off your complaints, you seem to kind of want bigger areas, more freedom in those areas.
I kind of want Steampunk Hitman. I just want Steampunk Hitman.
I'm sure Dishonored 2, I'm not making guarantees, obviously. We haven't seen any gameplay, but I get the feeling like Dishonored 2 will be a lot like that, personally.
Yeah. I would like to see it a bit more story-driven, and I always go back to narrative and story, but I think couple Dishonored with a really compelling story. Like I'm not saying it was a bad story. Don't get me wrong. It was a bad story.
No, it was a bad story.
Here we go.
I hope that it was a bit more compelling, because
let me just remind you about one thing in Dishonored before we try and defend the story. The point where the story completely breaks, which is the entire first act of the game involves you ultimately infiltrating the castle in order to get hold of an incriminating tape of what's-his-face, the Spy Master General, so that you can prove that he was involved in the Empress's murder. In the prison, on your way out, you pass a tape which you can play sitting on the Spy Master's desk with him admitting to being involved in the Queen's murder, the Empress's murder.
That is so true. I never realized that.
Take it with you. Why didn't you take it with you? There's literally a tape where he actually says, well, the murder of an empress was never going to be a simple thing. And Corvo doesn't take that with him.
Ruining games for me, John. That makes so much sense.
Does he actually say, I killed the empress?
No, he does not say I did it, but he says the murder of an empress was not going to be.
We're gonna get technical now. This ain't a confession.
We need to look up the exact
script. You're the legal one.
But I believe he also says he is framing Corvo openly, and then openly says that murdering an empress is complicated.
I remember that as well, though. That is a bit of a plot hole.
Why? That bit bugs me to this day. That Corvo doesn't just take that thing with him and then just immediately say, you know what?
They've kind of pinned him as the killer of the empress. Where now it's also from a video game standpoint, it's more fun to just go kill everyone who's fucked you over, and then. Essentially, I won't spoil the other half of the game, but yeah, I think it's not like an amazing story, but I think it was compelling enough to keep me interested. But it's not like a second run thing where when I was playing Dishonored last, I just played it for the gameplay and the side stuff. The story isn't like a second playthrough type of thing where I enjoyed it for that. I played it. I played it 3 times total. Like the first time I picked up the game was when I played it the most. I did a kill everything, then I did a no killing, complete ghost, and then during my PC playthrough, I've just kind of, goofed around, not really paid attention to the story, just had some fun.
I tell you that my favorite bit about the game, and it was such a nuanced, small bit, but it was, and I want to say spoiler alert, but when you decide to kill everyone and make those bad choices, and you get to the last area in the game, and the guy on the boat is like, I can't believe what you've done, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to alert you that you're here so the enemies start attacking you straight away. That was cool because it made me feel guilty for what I've done, but I don't think they fleshed that out enough. Because essentially up until that point, the fisherman guy or the boat guy was like your best mate.
Yeah.
It was like chilling with you, and then it's like, oh no, I can't believe what you've done. I'm going to alert them that you're here. So I fucking killed him. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch. But it was that kind of... That took me back a bit, and I thought that made me think, because the choices that I've made have made me a particular character, and it's affected my relations with people in the game. And I'm hoping that choices in Dishonored 2 do that more so, as opposed to one small section where that's where your choices really matter. You know, like, I feel like they could have been a bit more fleshed out.
See, I know they're two totally different games, but I have to mention this game, Lone. KOTOR 2, okay, by Obsidian.
Oh, here we go.
No,
let me just lean back in my chair. Go on.
Well, no, because here's the thing: is that's a perfect example of a game that literally takes your choices and how people influence, or how your choices influence people around you, and it does it in a relatable level, kind of exactly. I've been looking for the proper way of putting it, but exactly the way John put it, where the player can relate to the protagonist, because it explains things like why your party members, like when you do a dark side choice, why your party members attack with you, even when they're good. And so, even after you like decide, you could spare someone because they, and help them out of their situation, or you could just kill them. Let's say I decide, I'm going to kill them. Then the guy, like one of your party members, I specifically remember a part where Atten, I decided to kill some merchant, and he was like, what the hell? Why did I just attack him? And like the game like explains and further on, and it takes aspects of a normal video game and explains them in a unique way, and it's so cool. And like what I was trying to get at is that that's kind of what Dishonored could take from a game like KOTOR 2. I'm sure there's obviously plenty of other games, but that's the one I fondly remember with specific examples, is because you don't really see the impact of like, well, you killed everything until you. I mean, you kind of see it in the world itself. I remember some of the levels being a little more dreadful, like when you return to certain areas. You'll notice the difference, but other than that, it wasn't like a big difference. You didn't see like walls torn down and stuff. Like, you see a couple of people dying of the plague or whatever. That's really the only difference. And it didn't make sense. Like, why was me stabbing a politician? Isn't either way he's dead. Why is me killing him having this plague still spread? I don't get that type of stuff. So I feel like, they could do a little bit better with choices and explanation and all that stuff.
Definitely. I mean, it's a game that you decide how to play, so that should make some sort of impact upon your relations, the world, and make you feel a bit more, as opposed to just being this choice with no real ramifications. So I'm hoping to see that in Dishonored 2, and also being able to play as Emily is going to be fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Gonna be a good one. Next question comes from the awesome name of MattyPlays Fallout 15, and this is a good question. If everything that happened in the Fallout universe happened 10 years from now, what would you do to prepare yourself? So we know a nuclear war is coming. What do we do to prepare ourselves?
Based on my understanding of just kind of airways and Fallout patterns around the world, move to Australia, because my understanding is it's going to be the place that's going to be fine.
Yes. That's a good answer. That's a very good answer, John. Australia.
Get the hell out of the UK, because if Russia gets nuked, and someone's going to cocky nuke Russia because they've got enough enemies, then the fallout blows normally will probably blow towards Europe and go over Western Europe and into the UK. So we're screwed. So we need to get out. And my understanding is, basically, if China gets nuked, the fallout's very unlikely to go down towards Australia for whatever reason, just because of the way that air currents work. I don't know, but my understanding is Australia should be fine.
Yes.
What about Antarctica, guys?
It's gonna fly
it's a bit cold. It's a bit cold.
You want to live with polar bears and penguins, Matty?
Yeah, buddy.
No, but that's actually a really interesting thought. Australia is no one's going to annex Australia. It's its own, solitary place where we could set up defenses and shoot anything that came down. Like we could get nuked like any other country, but we'd be able to.
Why would someone nuke Australia though? I'd never hear them in the news like Australia submits threat or like does anything bad to this world. Like they're good people.
We're the good guys,
The bigger problem was if you've got a nuke and you want to nuke somewhere, you think, okay, let's nuke Australia. Well, you can't nuke Australia. It's bloody stretched. They've spread themselves out all over the place. If you need how many nukes would you need to nuke all the major cities in Australia? A nuke for each city, and that's a lot of nukes.
You got the East Coast though, where it's more heavily populated. Like you wouldn't nuke the middle of Australia because it's just fucking not populated. It's a desert. But there are areas where I'm fucking talking about killing my own country. No one nuke Australia.
Maybe I'd go to New Zealand just on the off chance. Just on the off chance that someone nukes a bit of Australia, I might go to New Zealand.
New Zealand is a great. I tell you what, though, if anyone tried to start a war with New Zealand, the Maoris, man, they're a warrior people that will fuck anyone up. I'll guarantee you. If you guys ever watch rugby and watch the New Zealand team, they're big boys.
Jesus, that's what you're basing their army off of.
Oh yeah, fucking they'll just you go 1-on-1 New Zealander with any other person in the world, I reckon they'd win, without a doubt.
I'm not sure we can necessarily judge a country's, abilities in war versus the rugby team. Otherwise, Wales would be a great military power to be feared.
Have you seen the haka? The haka would scare off any enemy.
Well, yes, but the Welsh have a good rugby team too, but they are not a massive military power to be feared. England does not cower in its bed at night worrying that Wales is about to just seize Gloucestershire back.
Yeah. But New Zealand has the haka though. Have you seen the haka? That shit's scary, man. You guys gotta watch a rugby game though.
Even now in Southeast Australia, they're just hurriedly building a wall across the beach just in case New Zealand's about to invade.
I love it. You guys got to visit New Zealand though. It's a beautiful country. I love it.
It's a very long way away. It's a very,
you
very
see
long
it
way.
in Lord of the Rings a lot. That's why I want to visit it.
I went to the set. I went to Hobbiton and I saw some sets in Lord of the Rings. It was pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Very close.
So, I mean, for me, like, I mean, see, John, having you was an issue because I had the basic ideas, and now, like, you come up with these great ideas that I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I'm thinking, like, oh, fallout shelter, I'll get food and weaponry. Okay, I'll be safe. No, I'm not.
You're gonna get fucking killed.
No, I've played Sheltered. I know what really happens. It's not like Fallout Shelter. It's like Sheltered, where you end up just killing your dog to try and desperately survive after about a week.
Fuck, that's dark. Shit.
This game is dark. I pretty much set up Andale from Fallout 3 within 2 weeks. I realised the only way I could survive was by luring in friendly travellers, then immediately murdering them, and then just basically trying to, after we'd kind of filled up the pantry with their cannibalised bodies, just sending everyone off to the playrooms and bookshelves to try and desperately distract themselves from the horror of what they'd done, till their tragedy meter went down long enough to go and murder someone else.
Yeah, Andale was a dark.
It's brilliant. It's Sheltered is the game I wanted Fallout Shelter to be, where it's horrendously dark.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and it's kind of the opposite of that.
It's like Gods Will Be Watching, but good.
I'm hoping that
I didn't get on with Gods Will Be Watching.
I'm hoping that
it's like Gods Will Be Watching crossed with Fallout Sheltered, but really good. I love it.
Yeah. I've been hoping that Fallout 4 settlement mode isn't just like you can make a good community, yay, everyone's happy. Like I was hoping that you could like not to sound messed up, but like you can enslave people, and just make like a total like absolute totalitarian type of leadership program and just essentially just be a dictator almost in a sense. And
Jesus, Matty.
Run people's lives like this is what you're gonna fucking do. Because I fucking said so, and you're gonna live a horrible life, but I have control, so shut your mouth. Like,
I feel like it's going to be a little bit more limited. I mean, like from what I can see, all we've really seen is all we're going to get is like a big plot of land that we can build a big house with a massive penis statue on the roof if we happen to want. Whatever. You can just build a massive statue made out of lights if that's what you want to do. Like, do we really have any evidence that really like? Because people keep saying, "Oh wow, in Fallout 4 you're going to be able to be like your own faction." It's like this seems to be kind of just being made up. I'm not sure we've had any evidence to suggest that it's anything more than just being able to build a nice house in each bit of the map.
Yeah, I don't think you can be your own faction or claim your own faction. I think it's as limited as you've got your own settlement that you can build on and you got to protect it from raiders. Maybe similar to how Fallout Shelter is. And I think that's the entire purpose of Fallout Shelter is to show those kind of game mechanics and how they might work in Fallout 4. So I'm hoping it's a bit more than that, but it seems like it's just going to be you have your own place that you can call your own. It gets attacked sometimes. And you've got a controlled water supply and food and make sure everything's powered. That might be the limit of it, and which is kind of a bit disappointing. I would like to see it a little bit more. But
it sounds like it's an alternative to the crafting system potentially.
Yeah.
Like there's vague noises coming up that like it's almost the house situation or the settlement situation is an alternative way to access weapons if you don't want to do weapon crafting. Where like the fact that if you build a big enough settlement, traders will come. Traders are an alternate source of guns if you don't want to craft them, which kind of makes me worry how they're going to balance it. Because if you do both settlement and crafting, what stops you just crafting guns and then selling them to the traders for tons of money if you do both, and the game becoming unbalanced because you end up so damn rich. from selling guns that you make to traders that have come to your settlements. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they're gonna do that. I'm sure there'll be a solution.
I mean,
trust in Bethesda. Trust in Howard.
I feel like the fun of the settlement mode is going to come from, because they say it's inspired by Minecraft. Now, I don't expect people to make these absolute massive towers, but I think the fun of the mode will come from what people will create over time, where people replicate buildings from previous Fallout games. Oh, I rebuilt the hub. Oh, I rebuilt Junktown. You know, that would be really cool to see. You know, and that would put your own stamp on the wasteland, because they said there's multiple plots of lands around, so you could kind of essentially rebuild Fallout 1 throughout little parts of the Commonwealth, and have its own imaginative kind of caravan tie between them. Like, you have Fallout 1 within the Commonwealth. I think like that idea would be really cool, personally.
I think there'll be some people who just dedicate themselves to doing nothing but building amazing structures.
Yeah.
And it will be brilliant. Those people will produce some incredible things, just like to this day Minecraft produces some incredible works of architecture. Yeah. Me personally, I don't have the patience for that sort of thing. I'm curious. I'm kind of curious as to how they'll handle it, because obviously, you know, the biggest, most impressive Minecraft structures are made effectively in, what's it called? The equivalent of God mode. I can't remember, where you can just fly around and have access to as many materials as you want, whatever creative it's called. Creative mode. So I don't know, like, if there'll be an equivalent to that in Fallout 4, because obviously we haven't really seen that so far. We've seen in E3 that the buildings can be bloody large, because we saw that one where he pushed the button and like the Vault Boy doing the thumbs up in the light, and that was clearly therefore hugely high. So unless like behind that there was like you had to have built scaffolding to climb high enough to select the bits, or can just by looking at something at a distance you lay pieces, I don't know how it's going to work, and I'm not sure we've seen kind of how building mega structures will actually function yet, and whether
something in the back, not to interrupt you, because now that you think about it, remember how like Todd Howard, when he was showing like how the you could like connect like a pylon, and then like you could connect that to a terminal, and the terminal could choose what the lights go, and like he just chose like randomized colors, and it showed like the same exact blocks that colored that Vault Boy. It was just flashing random colors. So I'm assuming there had to have been something going on in the back that they hid.
I mean, I'd actually like it better if you wanted to build a mega structure, you had to actually properly build like scaffolding to get up high enough to build it. That would actually be awesome, because sometimes I feel like it demeans and kind of lowers the impressiveness of a mega structure if you could just fly around like laying it in great big strips from infinite materials. It takes away from it. True. I feel like, you know, it's going to be a more impressive achievement for the people that do make incredible things if they literally have to document, this is how we made a flipping support structure full of ladders and scaffolding in order to actually create this in the first place. In order to decorate the ceiling, we had to build cocking scaffolding inside the structure just to get up there. You know, I think that would be much more interesting.
Yeah.
No, true. But on PC, you're going to have console commands, and people are just going to do whatever the fuck they want. Like,
toggle collision, fly around.
Shit. That's it.
Anyway. This kind of, speaking of creating stuff, segues into our next question from Deadpool. He asks, what is your craziest idea for a vault experiment?
That's a really good question. Yes. Excellent.
I always have trouble thinking of the answer. I get asked this all the time, and I saw it as a podcast question. I was like, I gotta throw this on here because I want to experience this fucked up shit with the rest of my friends, to be honest. It's gotta be something. It gotta be something.
Okay, I've got one.
John's got one.
Got one. Vault 119.
Yeah.
What you do is you lock a whole bunch of people in the vault. The experiment does not kick in until 4 generations later, i.e. everyone alive in the vault has never had any experience of the outside. The only people left living are people who were born in the vault and have been sealed in the vault. Yeah. At that point, it is revealed that within the vault, inside in a chamber that previously had not been revealed, is a much smaller mini-vault filled with midgets, who are themselves up to the 4th or 5th generation, who are not aware that they are who are only aware of the vault situation and are not aware of the vault within which they are in. They are only aware of their mini-vault within the vault. You then tell the vault dwellers in the non-midget vault that their job is to be overseers of the midget vault. And then you just figure out how long it takes them to figure out that they themselves are being watched, and if they figure it out.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
You have like these see-through floors that you look down on all these midgets, and like You can see them, but they can't. They look up. They just see a normal black ceiling.
Yeah,
They're like,
obviously, in this situation, the overseer is not allowed to be known to the normal vault. The overseer's got to be a secret, hidden away faction that there's no way of knowing he's there. So you just try and figure out how long it takes the normal vault to figure out that they are themselves being controlled by an overseer by virtue of just giving them insight into the fact that they are running the lives of the midget overseer. And if and when they figure out that they are being controlled, what does that do in terms of how they deal with the midget vault? Do they treat the midget vault better, worse? Do they try and free the midgets and integrate them into their society? What does the knowledge that they themselves have potentially been manipulated due to their propensity to manipulate others?
Fuck, that's deep, man. Holy shit.
To make it more complicated, potentially ensure that the midget vault is producing the food that feeds both factions, but the midget vault is not aware of this. So the midget vault is producing underground agriculture that feeds both the midget vault and the other vault, as the food is distributed equally between the two by machinery of some description. And as a result, attempting to free the midget vault dwellers would mean that the food supply was not provided in the same way, or that the normal vault would have to presumably, in some capacity, share the labour that they had not up to this point had to do, because the food would no longer be freely provided to them. What does knowledge that food is being provided by slavery due to people's propensity to free slaves or not? Will people free slaves if slaves are meaning that they don't have to bother doing any hard physical labour?
Far out. Far out, man.
Within the midget vault, there
you
is
got
a
a
vault
sick
of
mind,
even
John.
smaller midgets.
I was just gonna say, relax.
There are even smaller midgets in the midget's vault. Midget vault.
Yeah.
This is to help the midgets potentially figure out that they themselves are within a vault. For added plot twist, in the event that the normal vault decides, screw this shit, we're going to open the door, when they open the vault door, they actually, all that's revealed is they just go into a larger vault because they were actually within the sub-layer vault in the first
Oh my god.
The sub-layer vault is populated entirely by dogs. Nothing dogs. Dogs wearing vault suits.
Do you work for Vault Tech? Is that your secret, John? Fucking tell us right now. Do you
A
work
basic
for
desk job. No one find it interesting. I just think of fucked up ideas for vaults. I don't even want to answer the question. Like, nothing I will say, not even to top it, like, will match that or come close to it.
I got one, and I'm taking cues from Batman, but I want to say it. So, there's a vault, right? But there are two different areas of the vault. One area can call it, let's call it Vault A and then Vault B, all right? Now, they both know that each other vault exists, but every year, each vault has to make the decision as to whether to have every other participant in the other vault, every other citizen rather, killed. If they decide to have every other citizen killed, they get all of their resources, all of their food. However, if that vault also decides to have everyone in that vault killed, everyone will die. If they decide to save each other, everyone's going to survive. If one vault says we'll let them live, if another vault says we'll have them die, then the one that says we'll have them die, they win and they get all of the resources and all of the food. So it's kind of like this balance as to what's the other vault going to decide this time around? Do we need the food? Do we need the resources? And it's similar to like that Batman scene with the Joker where you got the boat full of prisoners and the boat full of good people, and they have to make the decision whether to say, all right, do we kill them or do we let them survive? Otherwise, they're both going to die. So it could kind of work like that. I think that would be messed up to force people to make that decision.
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I
just
have
fuck with it, like-
nothing.
Come on, Matty.
I've got another one.
Oh my god. Why'd you have to do that? Like, I can't even think of one.
Midgets.
Okay, Vault 126.
Yep.
Food supplies are provided in two ways. There is a small supply of a relatively tasteless but nutritionally just about workable gruel, and a very significant amount of very tasty beef or some other form of meat product, and some vegetables and so forth. The vault dwellers have it drilled into them from birth in every form of literature, every story, everything they are spoken to, that though this meat and vegetables and so forth are available, they are sinful. And if they eat it, just a single bite, they're going to vault hell when they die. They are capable of surviving on the gruel if they only eat the gruel, but they will be and they will probably live normal lives, but they will be potentially slightly weak. They probably will be quite tired. They'll be quite lethargic. They'll probably be quite pale and relatively just slightly feeble human beings. But they will survive. They'll be perfectly capable of breeding, perfectly capable of surviving. When you put someone with religious motivation, where they are told that something is so sinful a single bite of it will condemn them to hell, versus a lifetime of perfectly livable but slightly unpleasant suffering, what happens? And if some people begin openly, freely choosing to sin by eating the meat and the potatoes, how does that influence how the vault dynamic changes? Do the people who are just eating the gruel, do they get violent towards the people who want to eat the meat and the vegetables? Do the people who eat the meat and the vegetables want to get violent, or do they strike the preemptive blow? Who gets violent first in that situation?
John, you have a messed up mind, man. You're going to make people in this vault go crazy. They're going to be midgets killing each other over the fuck. You work for Vault-Tec. I'm convinced of it. You work for the Enclave, do you?
Yeah. Sure, why not? So yes, I think both of those vaults would provide interesting experiments into human nature, which is obviously the point of the vaults. They're supposed to. That was something that some of the vaults in actual Fallout games are a little bit guilty of. Some of them you kind of go in, you think, okay, I see what you did, but why? What would you learn about human psychology that would be in any way useful to the Enclave or Vault-Tec?
It was one vault.
What did you learn?
Where it's like, every year they have to make a sacrifice of someone in the vault, otherwise the whole vault dies. And
Vault 11 in New Vegas, yeah.
Vault 11, and then they found out, that the vault was just this experiment all the time. The computer actually wanted them to defy its,
refuse,
its views and say, actually no one has to die. And they found that out in the end. There were 4 people left, and then 3 of them committed suicide, and 1 of them walked out. What was the point? Like, maybe it was just to determine how humans would react and how they could defy orders by this one computer. I don't know. That it's such an interesting thing.
I see that one as having a valid psychological view, which is basically to say that if an authority figure says you have to kill someone or you'll all die, how long do people keep on killing their own, and how low does the population have to get before it becomes unsustainable? But my bigger problem with that was obviously the whole point of the vaults was they were, fallout shelters, literally. And it was made clear in Vault 11 from the tape in the survivors in the atrium that basically when they refused to send someone to the sacrificial chamber, the vault computer said, "You've now passed the test. We're now going to open the doors and you can go outside."
Yeah.
What if in year 1 they'd refused to sacrifice someone? The area outside would still have been heavily irradiated. They would have all immediately died. That's a really bad fallout shelter. You lock yourself in a fallout shelter, the computer says kill someone, you say no, and the computer says, alright then, I guess I'll just open the radiation doors. Good luck being ghouls, losers. It's a bit of a loser.
That was another
they don't care, because when you think about it, Vault-Tec, they had one vault that they intentionally left cracked open.
Yep, I was going to mention that one.
So,
which one's that one?
Everyone
I forgot which one. What?
I think it's Fallout 3. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, they left the door open just a little bit, so the right amount of radiation would just ghoulify them. But I think their experiment was, well, what does radiation do to people? Because they probably wouldn't have known at that stage, and then they found out that could turn them into ghouls. So, yeah, interesting, the whole Vault experiment thing. I think that really tops off Fallout. In terms of the lore, it's incredibly interesting.
Yeah, because it's always messed up. I can't think of anything. When I think of something really fucked up, I don't know, I think maybe fucking incest, like maybe make a vault out of that. You put a brother and a sister in a vault, and
that's messed up. That's interesting.
That's it. Just put them in a vault, and that's you can either it's locked until you have to populate to a certain amount, and then once you hit that certain amount, then this entire ancestral family has to exit the vault and create civilization, knowing that they are entirely fucked up, almost like the Lannisters in Game of Thrones. You take that, you bring it to life in a Fallout vault. Like, they have to hit a population number of we'll say 30, so it goes on for a while, a couple of years. They have the supplies and everything, but it's either these first 2 in the beginning stay locked in the vault. They're like 2 18-year-olds, brother and sister. Yep. Stay locked in the vault, they die.
That's
they have you have to populate so you can get out. And it'll have a gecko on lock. You can bring it out. Create civilization.
Shit.
There's a really interesting mathematical problem in here, actually.
God! Why?
Okay, Okay, let us say, for the sake of argument, that the
All
number of viable breeding pairs that is put into a vault is X.
Yes.
Now let us say that the number of years that a vault shall remain closed is Y. And then you have to calculate how long can you actually sustain a genetically diverse population for. Because as you say, if you've only got 2 people in the vault, then you've got a non-viable genetically diverse population. You're going to get problems with inbreeding immediately. If you have if you have 2 pairs, then you can. If you've got 2 brothers and sisters, then you can say, okay, so my brother with your sister and vice versa, and you can have at least a bit of genetic diversity, but you still run into problems the following generation because everyone's cousins. If you've got 3 breeding pairs, it gets a bit more interesting because then you can probably maintain at least some diversity to a second generation, but not that much. You've only got a couple of viable pairs in the first generation, so the second generation you're going to have fewer. So, but at that point, how does the viability of genetic variability, the viability of the genetic diversity, how does that survive through the generations depending on the number of viable breeding pairs that were available in the first place? That's a really interesting mathematical formula to try and calculate.
Of course.
Matty, well done, man.
I mean, for me, I think from this perspective, okay, I'll put it into simpleton terms, okay, for the non-Johns out there, okay? My opinion is that if I see my third cousin, she can be hot, 10 out of 10, I'm not going to even touch you with a 10-foot pole. That's what I think. So it's still fucked up. You're still fucking having intercourse with someone from your family.
It's more, though, that the offspring are going to have genetic problems because they're going to be from the same DNA. I don't know what the specific problems would be, but the children would have issues, and that's why incest is such an incredibly bad thing, and should never ever happen. So, but that's in terms of a vault experiment with Fallout. That could be a messed up scenario.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it's probably the more interesting experiment is probably not. Let's just see how bad incest can get over time. Though that would be a very messed up one. It's probably more.
You know what incest is after the apocalypse.
It's probably more if you create a relatively limited array of genetic diversity. How do people respond to the fact that their only possible breeding partner that's as genetically diverse from them is a distant cousin? How do people react to that problem?
Shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. Probably a good time to move on.
Maybe we'll see.
Now, actually, for added messed upness, you would have to have each breeding couple being very significantly different levels of attractiveness. So that for example, say that a viable breeding partner would have to choose between, say, for example, there will be certain circumstances where they'd have to choose between an extremely attractive closer relative to an extremely less attractive, much more distant relative. Condition. Both relatives, but
one's more attractive than the other.
Would people make the more? What choice would people make under those circumstances?
I like that.
I don't know.
That's a great
I hope
condition.
I'm never in that.
That's a great condition.
Choose. You now have to choose between your really hot sister or your really ugly third cousin. Choose.
Oh god.
No, Matty, you have to choose. You have to choose
one
of the two.
Hot
sister or really ugly third cousin. Choose now.
Oh,
no.
Yes.
Why?
The vault dies, Matty.
Nah, Matty, it's your vault. You've got to decide, man.
This is your vault, Matty.
All right, so either way, you're a loser. But I'd rather go with the distant cousin.
I accept
I'm not gonna,
Matty,
because
who did you have sex with?
You think it's your sister, your close sister. You probably spent a lot of years with her before all this. I could not imagine that. I would go probably with the distant cousin that has been born in this vault that I've just met and been like, okay, well, you know what? Your distant cousin. We're gonna try to make this work, even though I'm gonna want to kill myself after this. So,
but it's
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. MrMattyPlays would have sex with his ugly third cousin.
What about you, Lone? No.
I'm not answering, bro. I'm not.
Yeah, next question. We've answered that question now. Next question.
I'm gonna applaud you, John. That's brilliant. Oh, Matty. We love you.
Yeah.
Can we make that the thumb? Can that be the thumbnail? By the way, just the declaration
No.
Matty's sexual preferences.
No.
his ugly third cousin sexing position, which is it's a bold position to take. I am that's brave.
What would you do? I gotta know.
We should applaud this.
Yeah, we should, Matty. That's a tough choice, man. Well done.
Well done.
So I you know what? I can make the choices in the tough times. Lead by example.
Oh my god! What a
all right.
up
Next question is it's flipping 2 a.m. over here in the UK.
Fifth and
Yeah,
final
I was gonna
question.
say for John.
2 a.m. Your brain's fucking active. Do any of you suffer? Or this one comes from the Vault Soldier. Do any of you suffer from a phobia that stops you from playing a game? An example for me would be I can't play Skyrim for long periods of time, or go into certain areas without freezing up and pausing the game. Another would be thalassophobia, the fear of deep sea, or being in a large body of water. I'm over this now, but I used to feel this all the time while playing GTA 5 in a submersible. That being said, what are some phobias that have affected your gaming experience?
I have a few phobias, but I don't think they've ever stopped me playing a game. And I'm not sure whether you count them as phobias versus just like some creatures I just kind of see and they just kind of make me involuntarily shudder because I don't like them. And those include Venus flytraps. I really don't like those, and just carnivorous plants in general. And kind of jellyfish and kind of squid.
I touched the jellyfish at the aquarium the other day. Grossest thing. It's literally like hard petroleum jelly. Oh, it's so nasty.
I mean, I think octopuses are cool. I think octopuses are super badass, but giant squids and like jellyfish for some reason freak me out. But I don't think that's ever stopped me playing a game.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, I don't think I've ever, like if there was a game where like the principal villain was like carnivorous flowers of some description, maybe I just wouldn't buy that game. But I'm not sure I can think of one. Maybe DuckTales, the Amazon level.
I
That had a
know.
lot of carnivorous plants in it.
Noah actually, kind of to a degree, I don't know if anymore. He had that, not specifically that thalassophobia. Sorry, I'm reading it, so it's kind of a big word. But he didn't play BioShock, the first one, because it was underwater, and he said he just didn't like that feeling, and he said he didn't enjoy it. So I know my friend Connor also had the same thing. So I don't think it's an uncommon thing to have that. Me personally, I don't have like a phobia, and this may sound like a cheap one, but like I say this in quotes, phobia is actually just like a really cheap jump scare where that'll make me just stop the game and shut it off, because like I'll get myself so worked up when playing like Cry of Fear, for example, because that game was just full of cheap jump scares, and I'll be like, you know what, screw this game. Like I remember for my 24-hour stream, I played it for an hour, and like in the first 15 minutes they just scare the life out of you with some really cheap jump scare, and I'd like run around getting all anxious and stuff, thinking like, oh god, when are they gonna like get me again? And I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I just shut it off. So like for me, it's like the fear of being scared in a cheap way, though. I can be scared, but
I agree. I completely agree. I mean, I wouldn't call it a phobia, but I don't play games like Five Nights at Freddy or whatever because I don't enjoy the feeling of being jump scared, and I don't enjoy the feeling of dread awaiting the next jump scare. I just don't find it an enjoyable experience.
Makes for great videos, great entertainment, but not something that I want to be subject to. Like I played fucking Outlast, and I thought that was scary.
Yeah, I like the horror of Outlast, or like, you know, Evil Within wasn't that scary, but it had its moments of like intensity. I like that. I don't like you said, Five Nights at Freddy or Cry of Fear, where it's like, yeah, surprise, and it's like, oh shit, like I'm just scared because I didn't expect that. Like that dread of like an anxiety building up to like the next one, I just can't stand it, and I just shut off the game. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, fair enough.
What about you, Lone? I heard that you have a fear of cats in video games. Is that true?
Go fuck yourself, Matty. I do not have a fear of cats. Although now I'm going to see photoshops of kangaroos and cats. It's going to be great.
A terrified kangaroo. I actually get tagged in Instagram on pictures of kangaroos. They're like, I bet Lone sees a lot of these. And it's like literally the fucking muscular ones that you always use.
The real buff ones.
Yeah, the really buff freaking kangaroos. I'm like, this is great.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I can't look at a kangaroo the same anymore because of it.
Excellent.
Anyways, that concludes the H.A.M Radio Podcast, episode 25. That's all the questions and everything. John, thank you so much for making me feel like an idiot.
Thank you for staying up this late. Fuck.
No worries at all. I can have a nice lie-in tomorrow. It'll be lovely.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, again, thank you for joining us. Everyone that's still listening at this point, go check out John's YouTube channel, ManyATrueNerd.
Yeah, help me
and I'm definitely going to be watching the ending.
Oh, bloody hell, we've been talking for 3 hours, haven't we? Blimey, heck.
Yeah. I was worried. I was like, fuck, John's going to be like real grumpy and tired and sleepy, because I would be.
No, I'm a good night owl. Just don't ask me to do this at like 7 a.m. in the morning. Then I just tell you to piss off a lot. But no, 2 a.m.'s fine. I'm a good night owl.
I know that feeling. But anyways, John, so what we like to do with our guests, we like the guest to actually end the podcast. So Maddie and I will just literally stop talking, and you've got to end the podcast how you seem fit. So in a couple of seconds, I want to stop, and you have to take it. So thanks everyone for watching. John.
He hung up. He hung up.
No, he didn't. He's still on.
Hold on. We're trying to get the call back. I swear to God.
He disconnected. He disconnected. I swear.
Hold on. We're trying to get the call back. What? No way. This is the greatest thing ever.
That is the greatest ending ever. Did he actually hang up? Maybe he did.
I think he did. Is he online?
He's online.
Hello?
Yes.
Nope. No, now he's actually hung up.
No, he still says trying to connect. That's so funny.
Did we end it?
Hold on. Did you hang up?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. We are not ending this until I find out what happened.
Hello, I think I'm back.
Okay.
We thought you hung up.
Oh my God. We literally thought you just said fuck these guys and just literally hung up. Because right when Lone finished talking, like I just see your name like blur out. I'm like, oh my God. That was the smartest thing ever.
No. I think it was my connection. Sorry. Go ahead. You were saying with your guests you like to do something.
Okay, so that's funny. So with the guests, we like them to end the podcast. So essentially, Maddie and I are going to stop talking, and you're going to end the podcast however you seem fit. So you take the ball and roll with it, and we're going to stop talking.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all so very, very much for listening this evening. I don't know exactly how long I'm supposed to talk, so I'm going to talk relatively briefly, as it is indeed 2:05 in the morning here in Britain. But thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you to Maddie's audience, to everyone else's audience, and hopefully to a few of the ManyATrueNerd community who may well have come along, hopefully, to listen to this thing as well. So thank you all very, very much for listening. I've been John. Hopefully you guys will probably say who you are too. Sorry, that's the thing I generally do. I've been John.
I'm Maddie.
I've been Lone.
Magnificent. And this has been a podcast. It has. Thank you very much, and good night.